the show's about to get started. Welcome to the semifinals. It's Hikaru versus Wesley So, Magnus Carlsen versus Jan Nepomniachtchi. Anna, are you pumped?
I am pumped because we didn't know if we were gonna be here. If you guys remember the quarterfinals, Hikaru started with a loss against Maxim Veselagraf and he thought he was eliminated. The guy didn't know that there was a second chance. And man, after he was told there's a second chance, he took it. He grabbed it with both hands. He made a huge comeback.
Yeah, MVL versus Hikaru came down to the literal final moves. If you haven't caught up on those games, you don't have any time now because the games will begin in a minute. My friends, the time format is all the same. It's everything in the quarterfinals. If you miss the quarterfinals, today they play 4 games or 3 of Rapid. Tomorrow they finish the Rapid match. If somebody wins the best of 2, it's advancing to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And if after Rapid is tied 1-1, they play Blitz and Armageddon. Anna, these two have played each other probably like 200 times? 300 times?
Many, many, many times. And as Wesley pointed out in his interview yesterday, they will also see each other in the Speeches Championship next stage if Hikaru wins his first match. So Hikaru's first match is still to be played. Wesley has moved on to the next stage of the bracket, but yes, they will be very likely opponents to each other. In this tournament, they already are, and the Speeches Championship soon. They are teammates on the US Chess Championships. US Chess Championship, not a US Olympic team, I was gonna say. They played against each other in the US Chess Championship, but they won Olympic gold together in the 2016 Chess Olympiad in Baku.
Yeah, they've been on Olympic teams together. They know each other's styles. I think they played in the last 2 Speed Chess Championship finals. And okay, I'm actually in live chess. There are all 8 games, so they just auto load all 8. So I don't know which one is which. I actually thought this was the first one, but it looks like this is the first one. It's already up. So Hikaru has the white pieces. Magzi at the bottom left, guys, is playing with white against Nepo. Anna, did you see Magnus Carlsen's tweet?
Have I missed his tweet again? You mean because I have not seen his tweet before, I think, unless... Which one are you referring to? Wait a second.
Well, Magnus tweeted this morning while...
This morning.
While I was live, and he said... something to the extent of, like, I'm not playing that guy anymore.
Oh, now I see it, because when he played the quarterfinals against Anish Giri, he said playing dead guy today.
Yes.
And now he's saying, so I guess that guy isn't playing
Magnus
today.
Yes.
Poor Anish.
Yeah, I felt like it was... By the way, there's just no moves in any of the Hikaru boards, which is kind of strange, so no moves. So, Anna, I felt like it was kind of strange. I feel like he gave no credit to Nepo. He didn't mention that he was playing Nepo. He just tweeted that guy is not playing anymore. That's so unnecessary. But it's fine. It's all...
This bromance and continuous Twitter banter and Twitter battle between the two continues now also because Magnus wants it to continue, but poor Anish, and Nepomniachtchi making it through a very difficult quarterfinals. It was Aronian who was leading on the first day, and Nepomniachtchi made a huge comeback. I feel you, Levi, I feel you.
Yeah, well, somebody's saying Nepo won't be playing after today. Actually, he quite literally is. No one's getting eliminated today. Tomorrow is elimination day. Today, somebody can just kind of start the scoring. So, looks like I have the Hikaru game on the bottom now, but I still don't see any moves. So, don't exactly know what's going on. But
hopefully everything is all right. And they're going to be starting soon. But yes, sometimes the games don't start in the same moment.
Maybe they're staggering. I'm actually not sure. But we could focus on the Nepo game for now. So Nepo goes for a Grunfeld. When you play Nepo and he has the black pieces and you play d4, c4, knight, c3, you're going to get the Grunfeld defense. Magnus plays already a sideline, bishop d2, to try to take on c3, not with the pawn, but with the bishop. Now, I predict Oh, well, the way this is going, I was going to predict h4, but I'm not sure that's going to happen.
I would love to
So,
see h4, yes, but first of all, the bishops will be captured, and then it's a really good question whether there will be an eventual kingside attack and Magnus castling queenside, because you don't really want to place your king on the king side when your pawn structure is so damaged, and leaving it on e1 wasn't a good idea either.
wow, and he castles long. Okay, well, of course you can't take the pawn, and you can't take the pawn because you always have to look for checks. And then queen c3
Mm-hmm.
would win material there. We get c6. Chat, if you have any word as to why we don't see a game, I would love if y'all could help.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look if it's only on our end that we concede, or they really haven't made a move just yet.
Oh, they're playing. They're playing.
Huh.
They just started. They did literally just start. Hikaru going for a 4-move checkmate. No, he's not trying to. He's not trying to cheese Wesley. But I think he's just trying to take Wesley out of theory. Is what he's trying to do.
Yes, the bishop's opening is not the most common on super tournament level, but we have seen already in the Skilling Open a couple of games in this, at least one, I do recall. It basically could still transpose to similar openings such as the Italian. The bishop would be on c4, but you still need to develop your g1 knight, and you can decide whether you want to place that knight on f3 or e2. That's another square you have available.
This is exactly Hikaru's game against Karyakin. If you guys remember from the round robin, it was actually Hikaru's first win, if I'm not mistaken. The first win that he got, he was with the black pieces here, but now he plays it with the white side. I prefer knight e2 in these positions. That's one of the other two main lines, but he goes knight f3. Probably he thought, I don't want to play something Levy recommended, so I will play knight f3 instead. And now the plans are more or less completely the same, like in normal, but black will usually take on c3.
Yes, it makes sense to try to create a dynamic factor that would be a better pawn structure for black after the pawns are doubled on the c2 and c3 squares, but it also gives the pair of bishops to white. It will be similar, that imbalance is similar to how the Rossolimo is, that very famous line of the Sicilian defense that Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana played for so many games in the World Championship match in London. It's the same idea. You give up a bishop in order to damage the opponent's pawn structure, so it has its pros and cons.
That game Hikaru played basically after the opening. Karyakin went knight h4 and queen f3. Anna, if I may ask, I feel like you've been the researcher over the course of of our broadcast. What is the theory status of this position?
I'm gonna take a look and see that there's still over
many games.
570 games in the database. So yes, after knight f3 though, I also think that capturing on c3 is, I was gonna say more popular, but no, both have hundreds of games. d6 is one of the most popular.
Now, would black take on c3 and castle? Is that like the main thing to do here, or would black play like h6 and maybe try to go for g5? Or that's always a common idea. I'm sure that's there too, right? Knight a5, going for the bishop.
Knight a5, interestingly, yes, it's a common idea, but maybe not in this move order, because after h3, we have still almost 200 games, but knight a5 happened only in 16 among those 200 games.
That's actually kind of, okay, that's kind of interesting.
And there's no Grandmaster playing it. There are very few players above the rating 2000. No one really that stands out.
Okay, well that's either very bad for Wesley, or... Okay, and Nepo apparently has already lost. Nepo played queen b8, defending his own knight, and now apparently Magnus is just completely winning. Oh, Nepo blundered d6, takes f4, trapping the knight.
Oh my.
You guys look at the bottom left. Pawn push, take f4, the knight is trapped. He just blundered it. I mean, Magnus...
Magnus is in 16 minutes. You start the game with 15. So the world champion has been collecting time, not spending time. And he has a decisive advantage because of what Larry mentioned. The knight will be trapped. The knight looks like it's standing beautifully on the central square, but there are no squares where you can go to after d6. So that move order is crucial because if you play f4 immediately, black could jump to g4, sacrifice the knight on g4, but after bishop takes g4, queen takes pawn is a check that will pick up the bishop.
That's very nice. So if you look at the bottom left, everybody, f4 now, black knight goes to g4, you take it, but that allows the queen to come in and create a double attack. And Magnus has played d6, and Nepo loses in 15 moves. That's how we get things going in the other game.
That was unexpected. Yes, he's the world champion, and yes, he's the favorite, but going down in only 15 moves, Nepomniachtchi will be really frustrated, not for the result, but how he lost.
Yeah, I don't know how they all do this. I don't know how they all do this. They somehow all say no one is afraid of Magnus, and then they all blunder immediately when they play him. Actually, an interesting fact about that position, I'm just going to pull it up on the big board, guys, but I will go back to the Hikaru game. So apparently, in this position, right here, this is move 14 for white, Magnus played a novelty. So Magnus played bishop h3, improving on 2 games. Actually, Giri himself has played in this position with black. And Magnus plays bishop h3, and 2 moves later, Nepo goes down. It's crazy. It's not what's supposed to happen, but it is what happened.
It's sometimes mind-blowing how openings like the Grunfeld and the Najdorf can lead to really cool, complex, and chances for both sides type of positions, but other times it can be an immediate meltdown if you don't remember the line correctly, because these openings are so sharp that one mistake and you're lost. And that's what happened to Nepomniachtchi. He wasn't ready for this line. He wasn't I'm sure he has seen this before. I would assume he has seen it, but you don't always remember everything that you have revised. And in this case, brilliant preparation by Magnus Carlsen. He wins without having to make a single move by himself because he was literally still in his prep when Nepomniachtchi blundered the piece.
Yeah, and like that's definitely something that Magnus has seen, like queen b8. You know, these are the 2 options when you play something like bishop h3. Chat, by the way, I saw someone asking, what's a novelty? It's a move that's never been played in any recorded game. You know, maybe 2 guys got, you know, drunk and played this at their local bar or library, and then they played that, but we don't know that. So as far as recorded top-level games, it has never been seen before. And so the 2 options are that Magnus knows about queen b8, and he knows that d6 wins, or he's never seen queen b8. And Anna, like, when we do prep, if a move is totally not in our preparation, there's a chance it's a big mistake. So we have to figure out why it's a big mistake. And then d6 and f4 just finishes the job there.
Very true. And those of you who were asking what is it that Nepomniachtchi should have played instead of queen b8, the difference is the queen placement. So he had to protect the b7 pawn, but if you guard it from c7, that allows the knight to jump back to d7 after d6 pawn takes. You're protecting the knight when it goes back to d7. The queen from b8 cannot guard that knight.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, just fe5 and well, he's gonna slowly convert. Yes, I love this. I was just about to say I think Hikaru is gonna go knight g3, knight h4, taking a page out of the Karyakin playbook, for better or for worse, because Karyakin did lose that game. But he's gonna push now, knight f5. Now black is completely okay, but computers also don't fully evaluate attacks correctly. They tend to just say like, it's, you know, it's not that good. But Hikaru's next few moves are going to be knight h5, f4, queen f3, king h2. I really like this from Hikaru. Really, really like this.
I think it's really unpleasant to play against this. And as you said, the engine doesn't always fully show how scary this can be for human beings. But they could be the strongest chess grandmasters in the world, but when a knight arrives on f5 and you can't eliminate it because when it's captured, a new knight appears on the very same square, it's unpleasant. It really is unpleasant.
Exactly. You can't go g6 because of knight h6. Black really will play d5. Like Wesley probably will play d5 this very second. If not, he might play king h7, bishop e6, and build for d5, because you need to, when you are being attacked on the flank, like he's being attacked right now, you have to strike back in the center. You might say, well, what about the other side of the board? That's fine. That's also fine, especially if there's a king over there. But oftentimes the middle is where you can gain ground on your opponent. And Hikaru will, and voila. And now Hikaru will never take. He will never take.
He will not. The question is, do we want to step out of the d5 to make sure that after d takes e4 we don't have to trade queens, or you think he wouldn't mind?
I by far, like, to me, the first thing I think is queen e2, or of course, yeah, queen f3. Queen f3 is also really natural.
Yeah.
People are already trying to sacrifice, maybe in a blitz game, but you have to end up with the correct piece. Probably it's better to play bishop takes so that you get a check, but still, you need something called like +2, what I like to call it. You need 2 more attacking pieces than they have defenders, and you don't have that here. You just don't have that because everything is covered. So what was the
so there's no immediate attack, but as you said, Hikaru immediately stepped out of the d5 to not allow the queen trade because he wants to attack.
Anna, the engine is so savage. I want to bring this maybe to Hikaru's attention, depending on how the day goes. In this position, instead of queen e2 or queen f3, it wants queen d2. Do you know why it wants queen d2?
Why?
Because after de4, it wants knight g7.
All right.
King g7, queen h6, and bishop g5, and black resigns. It wants this. It wants the queen to go first.
So what's the best response to queen d2? What's the best defense?
The best defense to queen d2 is for black to play the very passive knight e8. In fact, that's the only move that doesn't lose. But then white has to play another move with the queen, because now you can't go forward with the queen. So
yeah, knight e8 is not an easy move, but if it happened, I think Wesley would have realized the danger on the king side. And you are right, without being able to take on g7, the queen is blocking the c1 bishop, so not ideal setup, but what an idea for that piece sacrifice.
Queen d2, knight takes g7 is another... I've seen that before in a game played by MVL and Arunyan. I don't remember where it was, but neither one of them saw queen d2 as an idea. And then in the press conference, they pointed it out, because that's what we do to GMs. We tell them things they missed.
Yeah, that's what we like to do a lot.
Yes, and both of them were like, we didn't see that. It's just such an unnatural move to go queen d2. Far more natural is to play queen f3. But Hikaru needs his g-pawn on g4. If he could play g5 here, he would be winning.
Yeah, very true. So do you think we have time for that regrouping of the pieces to move the knight away and push g4? Or it's too slow?
It's probably too slow, because you want to recapture on f5 with the knight. This is sort of the issue, is that you oftentimes get these great looking positions, but there's nothing you can actually do. You're kind of stuck. But I would imagine he just develops a bishop. Maybe bishop e3, rook d1. He has to attack with the pawns, but it's so hard to do that here.
What would be your prediction? What candidate moves is Hikaru thinking of?
Probably bishop e3. Rook e1, rook d1. Maybe knight e2. Maybe this knight e2, g4, but it's not, you want to develop first. In a dream situation, you play bishop e3, and your opponent plays d4. Because now the center is locked forever, so you can just freely maneuver and attack. And he's played, oh wow.
Knight h5, going forward, not backwards.
Oh. Well, what if I just take? And then play like queen f6?
Yeah, good point. Good point that after the trade of the knights, they have 6 squares available for the black queen. And the closer the black pieces are, especially the queen is a really powerful attacking piece, but also an extremely important defensive piece because the defender will want to try to trade queen. So I do think that Wesley will take and bring the queen to f6 and then possibly to g6 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
This is a little bit...
question. Sorry, I've just realized that some of you are scared because you're seeing a fork. It's not happening. G6 is not working. Levi, would you like to present why knight takes, queen takes, G6 is not an issue, or G6 now?
Oh, yeah. Well, G6 would be mating too. That would be great. But if you play G6 now, we'll take with check, and then I think we can pick up this pawn. And it's not like terribly successful because black can take on h3, for example. But it's still not completely lost. G6 might be the best move, but it's by far, by no stretch of the imagination is it like winning for black.
Yeah, so it's a possible move, but it's not gonna win a piece.
Knight h5 just a little bit too direct. A little bit too direct.
Maybe. Do you think that Hikaru is a bit nervous? It feels like knight h5. Usually he would be more patient, or he thinks that knight takes h5, queen f6 isn't that big of a deal. He's not afraid of the continuation. Not that it's terrifying. It just looks like black is comfortable there, and white's attack cannot continue.
Maybe Hikaru saw knight h5, queen h5, and then like g4, g5. Wesley does find f6. Sorry, g6. And now we're probably heading for just the clearance of the pieces and a draw in some form. But Wesley will be pushing. If you guys remember, Hikaru and Wesley drew when they played their rapid game earlier in the event, but actually at the end Wesley was better actually throughout like the last like 10 or 15 moves. So he has a way, man. I mean, he's very good. He's like very good at like...
It's very solid. And as you said in the preliminaries, Wesley so drew couple of games from better positions. He's very solid, sometimes too solid. Sometimes he would need that extra push that he's in a must-win situation. He has to play for a win because he does conform with a draw. Sometimes I think he feels like depending on the tournament situation, if a draw is good for him, he may not want to take chances.
I see people saying that Magnus is sacrificing the bishop, and I think it's to just get a serious flex here on Nepo. I think Nepo is going beyond the chessboard. Nepo seems to be playing psychological warfare of some just some capacity against Magnus. Just tilt him that he's not resigning, but I don't think it's going to rattle Magnus. I think he's just going to be like, why isn't this dude resigning?
Yeah, a good question about Hikaru's game. You guys are saying, what if Hikaru goes queen e3? That looks terrifying. It looks like it could be checkmate in a few moves, but I believe the issue is that if queen e3, black could go back to g8 with the knight to guard the h6 pawn, and then the fork is bad. That's really bad.
Oh, maybe that's what Hikaru missed.
Maybe he thought he would have queen e3. Could be.
Maybe he missed knight g8, and somehow you're that's it. Like the knight just goes back to its home square, and yeah, like if you use deductive reasoning to figure out that what knight d4.
Okay, so the knight cannot be captured because the queen on f6 is hanging. He just wants to trade queens. After queen takes f3, he will take back on f3 with the knight. But he's entering an endgame where black's pawn structure is perfectly healthy and black has a pair of bishops, so it will be black who can try to play it for a win.
Oh my gosh, knight d4. Okay, so Hikaru didn't take the pawn on h6 because the queen would take, and then Wesley would take, and you would move your rook, and then Wesley would play some move. Like for example, maybe you go a6, and then you try to you move your rook. And Hikaru didn't like this because the position is opening up. Black has 2 bishops. Black will play f5, maybe. Black will bring the bishop back. Black is okay. So rather than doing any of that, he's trying to not damage his structure. Queen f3, knight f3 is easy draw. I think Hikaru also thinks... I don't know this. But given the history of these two playing against each other, he thinks Wesley is extremely pragmatic. So Wesley, if he gets a completely equal position with no problems, is happy to make a draw and happy to play with the white pieces the next game. But we'll see.
True.
Maybe Wesley goes, not so fast.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Wesley will go solid, but yes, if he has a free hand at trying, so there's absolutely no risk, unfortunately, in this position for black. There's not much that could go wrong. So if you have a free chance, wouldn't you take it? That you try to win, and in worst case, it's a draw. Like if you don't manage to convert, it's a draw. But there's not much that could go wrong for black, unfortunately. I'm worried if Wesley will not be the pacifist that he has been in the preliminaries.
Oh wow, TSM tweeted at Hikaru, sending big TSM energy Hikaru's way as he begins his semi-final run in the Chess Champs Skilling Open.
Oh,
that's very cool.
That's very wholesome.
Shout out to TSM.
Shout out to TSM. Spam those TSM emotes, everyone. It is TSM Hikaru competing in the $1.5 million Champions Tour, the first event of the Champions Tour. And as of the participants, Hikaru is the only one who is backed by an esports team. The rest of the Super Grandmasters are still up for grab. I wonder if there will be more players of the field that soon will represent another esports org. What do you think, Larry? Will we see more contracts?
I would certainly hope so amongst the... and by the way, Magnus, speaking of a guy who might consider going down that route, Magnus has won his game. Nepo has resigned. It would be very cool. Would be very cool. They all have different sponsors. Many are not public. I mean, maybe that just means that they don't have them, but maybe some are just private. But like, you know, Anish has Optiver.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the other GMs, so it would be very cool. Obviously, which org tweeted at Magnus the day that Hikaru signed with TSM? Was it
Cloud9 or
I think it's
someone else?
Yeah, I think it's it was okay. It was Cloud9. Okay.
I think so. I might not remember, but I think our audience will know it better. Let us know. I see Cloud9 being mentioned in the chat, so perhaps it was Phase Magzi. You guys want to see as well?
Oh no,
C9
guys,
Maggie.
Make no mistake. This position is a nightmare for white. Black has absolutely no problems anymore. 2 bishops, e4 quite literally just threatens to win the game on the next move. This is, I mean, Hikaru's not lost. He's going to play something to g3, queen, knight, something to block this. But yeah, this is not what he wanted. I'm assuming he missed knight g8, but I don't. Obviously, we don't know. We don't know what he missed. So, and Anna maybe us someday, not to play, but maybe, you know, to make content.
I think for now we can't say anything, can we? No, we've never heard of an esports organization. No, not true. Not true. Luckily, esports organizations are really interested in chess. We are in that lucky phase of chess as a sport that it also is transforming into an esport. I think there will always be over-the-board classical tournaments as soon as the world goes back to normal, because that's the traditional chess tournament we know. But it's great to see that there are different types of chess competitions, and one type of it would be an esports angle. More and more orgs are interested in chess players and content creators to have them on their team, so that's really cool for chess. I do think it's cool.
Anna's pushing 100K, by the way, if anybody's watching and trying to investigate. She's almost at 70, so Hikaru did play.
Hikaru put pressure on me. He said...
I thought you meant on the bishop. I was like, okay.
No, he put pressure on me in terms of my Twitch channel. He said Anna has to reach 100K followers by the end of January, and I was told he was considering to say end of December. Hikaru believes in me more than my parents believe in me at this stage, or myself. I don't believe in myself to that extent. He thinks I can get it in a month. In a
You
month.
will. You will. You will. You will. Do you are is your family actively involved in, you know, not in like streaming, but in like getting updates about streaming and all this stuff? Were they ever worried? You know, but I feel like you've made like, I mean, you've carved out like a perfect niche even before streaming. Like you were, I mean, you commentated on the World Championship for God's sake. So it's, I'm sure they're happy, right?
I think the commentary part was easier to understand for them because streaming is such a complex thing on like how is that a job. So it took me a long time to even try to break it down to my mom what it means to stream. Because the commentary, they understand that's a sporting event that you cover, just like
Mm-hmm.
in football, tennis, chess tournaments have their coverage. So that was my job for years. It still is because that's what we are doing now with Levy. It's a coverage. This is a sporting event that we try to broadcast. But streaming as a concept, I think, is way more difficult to understand unless you watch live streams. Because what do you do on streams? And it's like, so like, so like, what do you do? Like, how do you
Dude,
explain? What do you
I,
do?
I, I ask myself that question every day I boot up. They're not the only ones. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I do. Yeah, by the way, people have realized that the queen is attacking in two directions. And yes, Hikaru, there is a chance Hikaru takes on a7. Just take the juicer and pray. Take the juicer
Mhm.
and pray. All right? There is a chance that he does, in fact, do that. Yeah, my grandparents are the same. My mom I mean, couldn't care less. She's like, dude, as long as you're, you know, happy and not living on the street. And I was
Oh,
like, yeah, my grandparents are very concerned. Slightly less now that they see that chess is becoming something, but definitely more concerned like 2-3 years ago when I was just like teaching and healthcare was a concern once I turned a certain age. Because here you obviously don't have it unless you like get it through a job, so or pay
I
for it.
see.
Uh, well, such serious topics today are being covered.
Yeah,
Um,
well, we are hoping that Hikaru does not get into a bigger trouble because this position isn't very appealing. I wonder, I wonder, of course, I hope Wesley will take this as the solid approach and it will peter out. But if not, I wonder what's the main issue here that we need to deal with and how will we deal with it. The pair of bishops looks terrifying, and the fact that we cannot take the bishop on e4 because there will always be a queen h2 checkmate, that's a concern. So that would also bring up questions like, will black manage to undermine, or will black try to undermine that knight? In order to chase it away, you need to push h5 h4, but right now Hikaru is threatening queen h6 to some extent.
no, Queen H6 would be terrible to allow. I mean, I was thinking G5. That's like the only way to protect it, right? Because if
Mhm.
H5, I actually H5 also guards it. To be fair, it does also guard it. And Wesley actually chooses H5, but that allows the queen to get to H6. See, that's the thing. A lot of beginners they go, "Oh, he's trying to take my pawn. I gotta move it." Yeah, but sometimes the threat is just to get there. It's not actually about taking the pawn. And Hikaru goes C4. Wow, he just busts out C4. Can't take. But Wesley's not gonna take Anna. He's good. He's a good player. Wesley
Yeah.
goes. What is going on? They're both playing so fast all of a sudden.
So still over 5 minutes left for both players. We started 15 minutes. Now they are down to the blitz portion. This would already count as a blitz time control, but there's a 10-second increment. So there will be no significant time scramble in terms of them flagging each other. That's not an option. That's more for the Armageddon. But yeah, those of you who are asking whether C2 was hanging, yes, C2 was hanging, but H6 also. Both pawns were hanging. Now they both have made sure the pawns cannot be captured. And
Yeah, this is actually okay now for Hikaru if he plays a few more moves, right? F4.
yeah, I was thinking what happens if Wesley brings the rook over to e8, but it's not a threat for Wesley to take on g2, for instance, discover the tag, because Hikaru always has h6, the h6 square as a check.
Yeah, he has H6, and also Wesley's position somehow is like a move behind. Wesley needs A6. That's like you need this pawn here, protected by this guy, and then the rook will move. But he can't. Like Hikaru's rook is just straight up better than the rook on a8. It's got a target. And Anna, do you think we'll ever see a rook a4?
I hope so. I sure hope so. It's
Oh,
always so cool when the rook swings over from the queen side to the king side or center.
dude,
What
we
have you
wait, wait,
spotted?
wait, 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 wait. We might actually see it on the next move. We might literally see take e4 and rook a4, and suddenly, oh, is it gonna happen? That's the beauty of opening the a file for the rook, and the doubled pawns don't really matter.
I like it. I
Hikaru,
like
do it for
it.
me.
Yeah, exactly. I like that now. He could maybe even turn the table. Do it for you, Levy?
Oh
No,
no, I
I'm
can't say that.
sure.
He's gonna be like, oh, Levy wants this. Now I'm gonna play something else now. All right, he'll play like bishop d2, bishop. Oh, is he gonna play rook
He's doing
a4?
it. He's doing it.
Yes! Yes, the rook lived! The rook has come alive! I mean, the position is still completely equal, but it's hype. It's still big hype. The rook has arrived. The rook is here. This is awesome. Actually, he might not even take Anna. He might play rook c4 to just defend, but he probably will
Good.
take.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna take.
It doesn't feel like there's anything wrong with it. So rook takes e4, black will take on c5, you can trade queens and then play rook e7, and maybe it's Hikaru who will start playing this for a win because suddenly his rook is really active on the 7th.
I think the only drawback in Hikaru's position is that if he ever plays the move like g4, for example, his king is too weak and Wesley can play queen h4. There's a very high chance this game ends in some sort of perpetual check very soon, but it's still very, very complicated position. Like rook e4, queen c5. Yeah, this is the issue now. They have to trade queens. So chances to win go down to rook e7.
I like it. Yeah, let's get the 7th rank for the rook, and it's
No.
now Wesley who has to play precisely.
Yes, bishop b6. So guys, don't get tunnel vision. You need to anticipate what's going to happen to you if you play certain moves. Bishop b6, you cannot take on b7. You have to move the king. Probably king h2, active king. Oh, bishop e3. But rook b5?
And they will trade bishops.
Yes, Hikaru's just fine. Hikaru's, I think he's just happy to have not lost. Like, people were saying on camera he looked extremely distraught. He didn't like his position, so...
I'm so happy to see that it's petering out from what we had. Like, yes, obviously, usually you hope that you get the first win in, but in this game, Hikaru got himself into a slight trouble. It wasn't too bad, but after that position, when he played knight h5 and all the consequences with g6, and he was fighting versus the pair of bishops with not much attack going on against the black king, that looks scary. And I think the moment Wesley pushed h5 and not g5, that's when we got our chance back. It felt like he had to play g5 to restrict the diagonal of Hikaru, but he didn't.
Yeah, I think Hikaru will be very happy, and I think once you get out of a position like that, but to be honest, it was unpleasant for like 2 moves. That's it. It was unpleasant for 2 moves. That's the thing about these games is like, okay, it's worse for one side, but because computers see something 4 moves in the future if you only follow one like path. And yeah, Hikaru, by the way, is indeed going for this f5 thing. I don't know exactly what he plans to do here. But probably something like this, and then the rooks are going to come down. So f6, rook b3, rook g7. Actually, if you play like that, you can even take on g6. So maybe f6, rook f7, rook e8, rook f8, rook e7, rook f7, rook e8, blah, 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 blah. Draw.
That could be the end of the game, but this is just the first game. A reminder on the format that we have 4 games, 4 rapid games. Today is the first day, tomorrow is the second day of the semifinals. At the same time, Magnus Carlsen's second game already is underway. Janja Pamnishi has pushed e4, and Magnus may not be at the computer. We still don't see a move by the world champion.
Yeah, Nepo has played a move, I think, right? Yeah, because Nepo has the white pieces this time, so... But it's exactly what I said. So they're repeating. Hikaru could try to push here. Could go back, but there's no need. I mean, if you're gonna lose 2 pawns, why? Like, what's he gonna do? Rook e3? Maybe, but looks like a draw.
I believe so. I think we could see the line you mentioned, Levy, check, going back and forth, 3-fold repetition. And it's a relief. It is a relief from the position Hikaru had. It kind of feels like he had to find a way to escape. That h5 push was probably the inaccuracy from Wesley's side. And from Hikaru, maybe knight h5 was too optimistic. Do you think it's this queen e3 knight g8 that Hikaru missed, or why would he go for that move?
I think so. It must be. I mean, it just must be. Maybe he just missed the g6 could be played. Maybe he thought knight h5 take, queen f6 g4. Okay, easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, first game is a draw. Carlsen is he won the first game, so we can. Is it my scoreboard wrong or? Oh no! My scoreboard's good. Scoreboard's good. Sorry, I thought I cropped it wrong. Okay, everything is good. Second game of Nepo Carlsen. We ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Yep, we are. So first game of Hikaru is a draw, but there will be 3 more. Both players will have now 10-minute break, so Hikaru will be back within a few minutes. In the meantime, Magnus is already playing his second game, and he's leading in the match because he won just now by trapping the knight on e5 that Nepomniachtchi forgot about in the Grunfeld variation. Now, Nepomniachtchi with the white pieces.
They play
And
a
this opening, what do you
dragon.
think? Oh, the dragon as a choice for the world champion.
Yeah, the accelerated dragon. Not something I would have predicted. This is not a bad opening. Actually, it's an opening recommended for many, many beginners, and all the way up to Grandmaster. But it's rare, and I frankly don't know the last time that Magnus has played the accelerated dragon. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm hyped. I'm hyped that we are seeing the dragon because it's not a common opening between super grandmasters. It's a sharp opening, and I think there are always fans. There are players, including grandmasters, who are fond of the dragon. But overall, it's an opening that either is too sharp, too risky, or there are lines against it that may equalize too easily. If you want to play for a win with the black pieces, you don't want to see those drawish lines.
I think that if you are a player with the white pieces and you want something against the dragon, you have to go for it's called like Yugoslav attack, right? Like F3,
Yeah.
G4, yeah.
Yes.
You have to play like that. I think Nepo's gonna go short castle. At this level, you can't quite Yugoslav anybody. So Nepo goes for the positional dragon.
Tell us why it doesn't work at super grandmaster level.
Oh, I actually don't know. You just don't see it. Is it just because theory? Like engines have just figured out a way to just neutralize it? I don't know.
I would guess so. Engines are so good at defense that it's not enough that it looks scary when your opponent is launching those pawns in front of your king, and yeah, they find a defense in every single line. But I think that's unfortunately the case with every opening nowadays. There's not a single opening any half decent opening is playable nowadays because the engine makes them playable.
Yeah, it's rare though. Still, there's a few dragon practitioners. That sounds like a chess, like boxing realm of like fighting, practicing the dragon. Like Gawain Jones, British Grandmaster, he plays it.
I played a game against him. He was one of my strongest opponents at an international open tournament, and
did he play it?
He always plays it. So I was so ready, and I was like, I'm gonna play this line where white is slightly better, and I'm gonna be so happy because he's much stronger than me. But no, like you cannot just wing it against someone who spent so many years studying the dragon, and he's kind of an expert of the opening.
Man, if I played him in a tournament, I don't know what I would do. Like, it's one of those things, you know what you're gonna get if you play a certain thing?
Yeah.
I once completely switched my first move because 100% of a guy's games, he wasn't a GM, he was like 2300, 100% of his games were Karo Khan with black. And
so you played e4 to play against the Karo Khan?
Yeah, because I knew he was gonna play c6.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if he doesn't? I'm like, if he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but neither does he.
Yes.
So I played
what
E4.
happened?
He played Karo Khan. His rating was higher, to quote Google. So he played Karo, I played my line, I was slightly better, and I won in like 25 moves. I'm like, man, I feel like you need a second opening. Like, you cannot make 2300 with 100% of the time predictability.
Yeah.
It's just too easy to prepare. It's
so
just,
true.
Yeah, it's
so true.
All pawns and no hope. Exactly, chat. Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
What do we think of this current position, this exact moment after queen to d2? So yes, Magnus Carlsen has played the dragon. It's one of the coolest opening names out there in chess history. But it's the tamed version of the dragon because Nepomniachtchi didn't go for the sharp lines when both kings are on opposite flanks and it's an aggressive attack. It is the castle kingside version that is not too dangerous. It's not considered as the refutation of the dragon. Not that it has one, but it's not the most challenging response. Nepomniachtchi basically just says, I want a playable position. I'm not interested in a theoretical battle.
Well, he's trying to go bishop h6, and essentially, you are a little bit positionally worse in the dragon. If you don't get like a successful attack, your position is very fluid. Oftentimes, by trading the c-pawn early in the Sicilian, black uses the c-file for certain operations. But you see what Nepo's doing? He's putting this pawn chain against this bishop. This knight at some point will trade, but that will open up the a-file. We just saw the same thing in Hikaru's game. And bishop h6 will then trade this bishop. So Nepo will have more space. He will have dominant control over the knights and bishops that Magnus has. Magnus will have the fact that he's Magnus, which is a very important skill difference between the players.
To be
Sorry.
Magnus.
Yeah, he will come up with ways. He's also the only guy that in this tournament, back-to-back games, to get Nepo into lower time situation.
Yeah, we always see Nepomniachtchi having +2, 3, 4 minutes on the clock, never ever spending time. Doesn't matter if he's doing well or it doesn't matter if it's a disaster. He always is blitzing out his moves. He's one of the fastest players out there. But not this game. You are right. Is he now broken by the Magnus power that this first game was quite a poor one? We are here very easily judging, backed up by the engine, but I'm sure that Nepomniachtchi is extremely frustrated that he lost in such a silly way, that he blundered his knight in 15 moves.
Yeah, Hikaru has talked about this before. He'll be like, if you lose a game like that, you can actually be less frustrated than normal. Whereas if you battle a long time and you're winning and then you lose, it hurts more. It actually stings. Because if you just have a garbage game,
Yeah,
just move on. Okay,
easier to move
easy.
on, you think?
Just band-aid and then but I don't know.
Yeah, at the same time, to make such a ridiculous mistake, it's ridiculous on their level. I could make that mistake easily, but on their level, it's ridiculous, the type of mistakes. And you know that there are tens of thousands of people watching and judging, including Levy and Anna. That's
Oh, we don't judge.
painful.
We don't judge. We don't judge. No,
we
we
always.
we judge tweets and such. We judge tweets and such.
Yeah, more important to judge the tweets. Has he
God,
tweeted recently, by the way?
Who?
Nepomniachtchi hasn't been very active.
No, actually. No, he mostly tweets about football, soccer.
Yeah, and in Russian.
Yes, he'll write some cryptic tweet about football. Those of you asking about things on e6 and f7, no, this is no good. Because you have to think, black gets a horse, you get a pawn, and then you get a rook, but black gets knight and bishop. And this position is just better for black. I'll tell you why. Knight and bishop, you feel the effect of it a lot more than the rook. Like Magnus ends up with 4 pieces versus 2, and okay, your rook just stands in the center and doesn't do too much, so that's why he didn't do that. Anna, here apparently Magnus is better if he finds the really gross idea e5, which is not the hardest move in the world, but then the thematic b5.
And so he plays it on demand. You called it out and he moves instantly e5. But yes, as you said, it's a logical move.
He hasn't played b5 yet. If he plays b5, then that's what I said. Magnus is Magnus. Nepo does everything that looks right. And b5 is extremely strong because if you take, there is queen b6 check. So, is he going to play b5? I think he will. I mean, he's Magnus.
So, he is.
Let's see.
I think b5 will be on the board within 20 seconds. 30? No.
And there
Okay.
it is.
Man, it was shorter. Man.
Oh,
Such a
Magnus.
strong player. He always does it. He always. That's the thing. Magnus has. Obviously, he's the strongest player in the world for a reason, but that's also one of the key details of his strength, I think, is that he has this sixth sense. He feels it when he has the chance to take the initiative and now play for a win. It's still not a big advantage, but he is the one with the upper hand now after these two pawn pushes.
Yeah, I am not to take credit for this move b5, guys. When Nepo played bishop h6, the eval bar dropped, so I was like, what? I mean, your last three moves literally prepared this. I was like, how does that make it? And then I was like, why is it bad? And it's because black is fast with the counterplay. That's all. Like b5, it's not an insane move because in many ways, once you see it's possible and it doesn't lose a pawn, it's exactly what you want in the Sicilian. You want b5, b4, knight b3, rook c2. So Magnus and chat, d5 is no good because d5 plays into the file here. So for example, like take, and something with rook coming. It's no good.
So I'm typing in the meantime because I realized that both Hikaru and you have very, very professional comments that describe what's the format of the tournament. So I decided I need to appear just as professional, and I'm copy pasting the format command.
Oh,
I didn't realize I did not have one, but yes, it's not a very easy system to just understand from the outside. But I think once we have it broken down, it makes a lot of sense. I think it compares a lot to how tennis works in terms of today is the first set, tomorrow is the second set, and if we don't have a winner after the two sets, then we have playoffs.
you know, it's okay if folks are a little bit confused. I think golf is by far the most confusing sport, and yet they have like $100 million prizes, like some of the wealthiest athletes in the world. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Just they play chess. Some people lose, some people win. Good stuff happens.
Good
Semifinals.
stuff.
What is tennis? I am American. Yes. Yeah, and now Nepo has a tough spot. Hikaru's game hasn't started, has it?
I don't think so. I'm keeping an eye on it, but I don't see moves yet. So three
Yeah.
more games for Hikaru. It's about to
Nothing.
start the second rapid game.
Well, cricket, yeah, don't get me started on. I mean, I know
I
nothing
don't
about
understand.
cricket.
I don't understand cricket at all.
There's a question. Can you back and see what would happen if bishop moved to f7, causing check? So many people were asking about that, actually. Okay, guys, if there's any chess advice you get from the stream, it's don't give up a bishop for no reason. It's the same thing about knight e6. So you guys were thinking about knight here, but you're only attacking the queen if this happens. You're not actually attacking this bishop because you'll just get taken back. As long as it's a fair trade, you're not actually successfully winning any sort of material. Actually, even the king can take. See, nothing happens because now you can't even go to e6. So very rarely in a full-on equal position like that will you have an opportunity to just sacrifice a bunch of pieces and win the game. It's just important. And I'm only saying that because I saw actually like 6 or 7 times bishop f7 get written. So let's keep all of our pieces to ourselves, yeah?
I think it's always very tempting to sacrifice, especially since that's what Puzzle Rush teaches you. Any kind of tactical exercise is often based on some kind of a tactical motive where you can give up a piece, a rook, sometimes even a queen for checkmate. So it's good that you guys are looking for it. There will be combinations like that. There will be moments when you can sacrifice for the attack, but it has to be justified. And usually the justification is that you have more attacking pieces than what the opponent has as defenders, or that the king is already really weak and vulnerable. There has to be something that justifies it.
This is fascinating. So I think the reason why Nepo is taking so long contemplating b5 is that since he can't take it, he knows b4 is about to happen. So I'll give you an example. Let's say Nepo goes all in, g4, trying to attack on the king side. Well, now we're going to see b4 attacks the knight. If you play something like even like g5, for example, like just move the knight. Nothing happens. You don't do anything, and this is still a big problem. If you move the knight, let's say to, I don't know, a4, then take. This no longer has a guard. This is going to come down, and d5 as well will break open the position. So Magnus will successfully break open the queen side for his rook, then play d5, open the center for his queen. This knight is no longer playing. So Anna, this could be like terrible for Nepo in the next 5 moves. Apparently the best plan for Nepo was not that. It was not to play a3, it was like to play something with knight g3 and f4. But it was not that. Because now Magnus also has d5 in this position.
I think he will go for it. d5 is once again one of those moves that Magnus will understand within a split second that, again, it's his chance to go with it. He has grabbed the initiative and he can keep continuing with forcing moves such as d5. Yeah. He has just played it. It's his turn to break through in the center.
The difference with rook d1 is that you don't have a bishop guarding d5 anymore. Okay, I see that Hikaru has started his game. They're just in the opening. We're not missing too much. Never mind, they've played 10 moves.
What? Already?
How? I literally was like, they played e4, e5, guys. It's all good. How did they already play 14 moves?
How do they always do this? Always.
How do they always find a way to do that? All right.
It's not a blitz game. It's rapid chess. 15 minutes plus 10 seconds is the increment. And they still do it.
I will refresh this thing.
I will open my database to see when is the novelty. This time the novelty could be a move 25 at this rate.
This variation has been getting played extensively in this event. This Italian, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there was just a rule they just signed, like we have to play a lot of Italians, or we have an Italian sponsor, we have to make the Italians happy. I don't know.
Maybe.
But Anna, knight h7 is rare.
Yeah, I don't see any games. I was gonna tell you. I was thinking, the novelty will come much later, but knight h7 is officially a novelty. Hikaru plays a move that never happened, and he plays it by collecting time. So he has prepared this novelty for today's game or any other game, but it's new. It's a new territory, and it made Wesley think at least a little bit. So that's good. That's a good sign.
So on move 10, bishop b5, how many games have been played? 500? There's like a ton of theory here. So how many games after bishop b5?
Bishop b5. Oh, I was expecting more. 41 games after bishop b5, and bishop b6 is already not that common. 10 games we are left with, and after knight g3, knight h7, completely new territory. So there weren't as many games as I thought. Interesting, because this is, as you mentioned, quite a trending line. After a5, there are over 100 games for that position.
And I would be willing to bet it's all like 2,700 guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like every game. Okay, so that's the thing. If there's 500 games, but 50 of them are only by Super GMs, that means it's trendy. But if 40 out of 40, that means that they all have discovered something similar. Hikaru plays knight h7, knight g5. Wow. To trade the knight and double his own g-pawns. Aren't engines crazy?
Yeah, but it makes sense in a way that later, if you could push, well, I was going to say if you can push d4, you can't push d4 anytime soon, but I'm guessing for now it's not an issue because the g5 pawn is guarded by the d8 queen. In an endgame, maybe you could also make sure that the structure is all glued together by pushing f6. I was not going to suggest f6, especially not right now. After d4, the main thing is white wants to push that pawn all the way to d5, and that would be a fork. But if e takes d4, white cannot take back with the pawn because then we capture the pawn for free on d4. So e takes d4, white has to respond with the bishop capturing the knight,
Mm-hmm.
and only then c takes d4. What's
Yes.
that position like?
I don't know what Hikaru has prepared here. We'll see it. Like, if he breaks with d5 right away, then white plays e5, locking it all up. But black can also play f6.
Mm-hmm.
Black can also play f6 here. And just kind of say, all right, queen e8, queen g6. Nope, not there. Queen g6. Put the rook on the open file. It's a very interesting position. Very cool to see this from Hikaru. Like, coming up with this, like, fresh knight h7, knight g5 against Wesley. I feel like against, I feel like against Magnus, like, Hikaru might not double his own g-pawns like this. Like, it's like a stylistic matchup kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, against Magnus, you try to be as solid as possible with the black pieces, minimize your risk, maybe surprise him when you have white. Because Hikaru has said that Magnus is one of the only people he would play with white in Armageddon, not black.
Mm-hmm.
But against Wesley, he decides to kind of like mix it up, double his own g-pawns.
It makes sense because you play your opponent. Chess always has the same number of pieces. There's no luck factor, but you need to use the psychological factors just as much and play against the style of your opponent. Yes, Wesley is a very solid player. So I think what you said, Levi, is really important to understand. Hikaru goes for this specifically because his opponent is a very solid player. And yeah, against Magnus, the strategy is different. Magnus is gonna win again, I'm being told. Is that true? Is he already? Well, it's still the same amount of advantage, but yeah, looking good for the world champion. Slightly better.
This actually could just be a very short day. That is one thing to think about. When there's 4 players remaining, if both matches end in 3 hours, we might just straight up have like a 2-3 hour day.
No, that cannot be, Levi. We are here to stay. Every day we live on Twitch. We live and die for being on this platform.
Hold on. I do one of those things. I'm good not doing the second part. But yeah, for I'm jeez. I thought Anna was the wholesome one. Oh my gosh.
Now, I was just saying to you on my stream earlier, because before the broadcast, both Levi and I were streaming. I feel like all we do is be live on Twitch nowadays, and it can easily be 10 hours straight on air. And it doesn't involve all the off-camera work, because we also have to work off stream to make these streams possible, plus video work and every other business mail and calls and such. So it could easily end up being like a very, very, very long work day where there are basic needs such as eating and sleeping that are left behind. They are just, put aside. It's not that important. Twitch is more important. At the same time, I feel like we have such a good time that it doesn't matter how long the day is. It feels like it's flying by. I never feel like it's too much work. I'm so energized by you guys. Oh, send more flower power. Hikaru's way too, but our way too. Honestly, it feels amazing to be here. I think Levi and I are always happy to cover these events because it's a fascinating tournament to talk about, and you guys make it even more fascinating to be here. It's just great to be in your company. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for showing up every single day to hang out with us.
Yeah, honestly, Anna said it best, and it's really cool. Like that. I don't know what our current combined count is. Like yesterday we hit like 50K. Today we have like 40 something. But in that 40 something, I mean, who knows who is watching? Different streamers, different influencers, different big gaming channels. TSM is watching. Hi TSM.
Yeah. Hello TSM. Yesterday Ludwig was here with us.
It's just everybody around whatever channel it is that you watch and usually spend your time, unless you're usually spending it in chess. That's awesome. So we're just happy to deliver this the action for you. Hikaru goes for c5. Ain't no respect for this dark squared bishop, my guy. No, nobody cares about this guy over here. What happens if d5? Bishop d7.
So let's think about the consequences. What happens? What happens if the bishop will try to be jailed and stay within the pawn chain that doesn't let the bishop move.
Well, naturally, you want to go d5. The only reason you wouldn't go d5 is you go, okay, what next? Bishop d7, and then what do I do? And maybe you don't like what happens next. So, what would I actually think with white? I think I would play bishop e3. I like that move. Just develop another piece. And
yes, because d5 is committal. It could be the best move because yes, the b6 bishop will become quite a difficult one to activate, but it also is committal. And that's not Wesley's style to go for something that could backfire. Not that I see anything wrong with it. I think immediately there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just trying to think as Wesley, which is very difficult for me because I'm not a 2800 grandmaster, but I'm gonna try to channel my inner Wesley. So, and I agree with you, bishop e3 seems just like a very natural, solid continuation.
Well, this is a. I would choose bishop e3. I would definitely choose bishop e3. But Wesley So is 2800 level GM for a reason, and by the way, he plays a4.
I'm not gonna try to channel my inner Wesley So because I clearly don't have it.
It honestly, it's not that one is necessarily even better than the other. It's just the decision. Like, he's going for a strategy aimed at locking in the pawns, and if he can lock in the pawns, he locks in the bishop. So that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. But Hikaru's gonna try to play c4.
He's gonna try. I was reading a comment that Magnus is blundered, but I was baited so badly. There's nothing going on. It's still a better position for the world champion.
No, yeah, Magnus's position looks fantastic, guys. Bottom left. Yeah. He's fantastic. Maybe he's not winning.
I think he will win it. Imagine if he wins the second game too. He won the first game. He has a slightly better position that he could convert. The time difference, Magnus has 8.5 minutes, Nepomniachtchi 2.5. The better position also is on Magnus's side. So time-wise better, position-wise better, slightly better. But if you combine those two and add to it that his name is Magnus Carlsen, I think he will win the second game too. I think he could claim the match very easily after the third game because he needs a third game to make a draw. You need to score 2.5 points to win the match of today, first set.
Yeah, and the reason he made a blunder is because back here his position was like very it was very promising. He had control of the file, he had knight and bishop in the center, but he decided to trade off the rooks. Well, they haven't been traded yet, but they will be in a second, unless he just decides to move away. And he's trading off pieces. And I think, Anna, he's going to rely on the fact that there's two very weak pawns in Nepo's position, maybe three. So he's going to try to play like that against those things. But at the same time, he also doesn't have to win this game. He has the next game. And so far, Nepo has not gotten anything against Magnus.
And it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really difficult. And Nepomniachtchi hasn't done badly against Magnus overall in his career. As we said, both of them were born in 1990, same year. That meant that they started their rivalry at a very early stage. I believe the first game was an under 10 World Championship match. Well, match not yet, but World Youth Chess Championship, the overall tournament for children, under 10 category. And Nepomniachtchi won that first clash. They obviously have played a lot of times since, classical, rapid, and blitz. And the most recent one was a disaster for Magnus in the preliminaries. He was winning, completely winning, and then he mouse slipped. That was against Nepomniachtchi. The mouse slip, El Mouse Slipito, was against Nepomniachtchi. But Magnus is just so tough that he doesn't. It feels like that game didn't happen. He's crushing Nepomniachtchi without the psychological factor in the back of his mind.
Yeah, he was winning that game. He was out just very calmly, outplaying Nepo, and the immortal Queen B4 resigning, and there was nothing to be done. But he was also beating Nepo. Let's not forget that. He had a very, very nice position. And what's going on the bottom left? The rooks have been traded. Okay, we'll see what happens. And meanwhile, Hikaru has played c4. There it is.
I like
c4 is
it.
there.
It opens up the diagonal for the bishop. The only issue with this pawn push could be is that the pawn on c4 is now apart from the rest of the crew, and it may be attacked and captured. It's going to be difficult to hold on to that pawn, but I think Hikaru wants to activate the bishop so much that he is ready to give up a pawn if needed. He may not be able to protect that pawn, but he will have activity.
For sure, I think he'll give this away when he has to. Right now, he actually has a threat, which is queen f6, which is a fork. Classic right triangle. There it is. Chat, you know what to do. But I think, yeah, well, that's the problem. Queen f3. That is the problem. So maybe something with bishop c5 and rook b8.
I like the plan. If we could also start with rook b8 to then have bishop d4 as an option too. Although bishop d4 is met by bishop c3. Maybe it's not a big deal.
That's the issue, I guess, is that black's better bishop is the bishop on b6 just for its scope on f2. Yeah, that makes sense. Don't know. And queen f6 is just bad. Like, trading the queens looks nice, but it's just bad. It's just not good. Rook c1, knight h5. It's just bad. Hikaru does go for Anna's plan. He goes for rook b8 first.
I'm not sure it's good for Hikaru if he goes for my plan, but...
hey, that's my line. Anna.
I spent too much time streaming with you, Levy. I start to be like you. Just wait for me growing a beard. It's happening. I can feel it. It's poking out of my skin already. It's happening. I'm gonna look so cute. I'm gonna be so cute.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say now. I usually know what I'm supposed to say. I don't know do we go on break? What do we do? Is Anna losing it? Okay. What's Wesley gonna play on rook b8? Bishop c3 probably. Serious note. I think bishop c3.
Very logical to place the bishop on the long diagonal. And then what's next? So it has happened. What's next for Hikaru?
f6. God, f6 is like the ugliest move ever. Ever. Probably not f6.
It's f6. Ugly, but because white doesn't have a light squared bishop, it doesn't look like it would be disastrous. So we always tell you guys to be very careful pushing the f pawn, the forget about it pawn. But there are positions when you need to push it. I don't think he has to. I don't think it's necessary, but maybe a bit later.
Meanwhile, breaking news. Absolutely breaking news. Nepo has come back. Magnus postured a little bit too hard and blundered queen c7. Oh, that's a huge move. He went for knight e7 and Nepo countered with the queen. And now he's just down a pawn. And Magnus has the 3-on-1. This is the ultimate backfiring of what Magnus did in the middle game. He's down 3-on-1. This, Anna, is actually one thing for the chat to know why the dragon is positionally bad. Because in any endgame, white has what's called a queenside majority. So white has 3-on-2 on the queen side. And now you're using now it's turned into a 3-on-1. And Nepo should just be winning here.
This is a winning endgame. I know you guys are saying, but his Magnus, he's gonna escape. He has escaped from a really losing position against Anish Giri, but I think it's difficult. There's a difference between when a position is losing because you need to find the right way to attack, and Anish missed it. And this one is an endgame with a pawn up. So it's a long-term advantage that pawn, the extra pawn for Nepomniachtchi is going to be there. Even if he doesn't play the most accurate way, it's an extra pawn.
And for anyone confused why you wouldn't take on b5 here, it's because you triple stack yourself. You don't want tripled pawns. You keep the tension. Notice how Nepo's not even playing a5. this is actually genius from Nepo because he makes black keep the knight here. If black moves the knight away, knight b5 is a free pawn. Now it's completely winning. So probably Nepo goes g3. Is this just over? This is probably completely lost for black. Engine just won't go past a certain point, but let's see what Nepo can do.
I'm shocked because I thought we left Magnus there with the slightly better position that he usually grinds and converts into a full point, but he missed queen c7, and now the tables have fully turned. Official that Magnus Carlsen will have to try to save this. Pawn down, knight endgame. The issue with knight endgames is that they are the closest to king and pawn endgames when it comes to evaluation. Usually, if it would be a lost king and pawn endgame, and that's the case here, it's also lost when it's with knights on the board.
Yes, that's exactly right. And there's enough imbalance in the position that Nepo should be easily winning. It's according to Ceci, it's +8, which means that it has figured out the endgame. Having said that, Ceci has always also told me some endgames are winning, and it's not. So it doesn't always understand fortresses. You sure as hell are not getting a fortress here with black.
Yeah, especially not after knight g6, with the threat being that the white king just moves closer and grabs the pawn on e5 to the a pawn. Black has to pay attention to that a pass pawn, so you cannot just stay guarding your pawns in the center. What a turn of events! And from a match situation where Magnus Carlsen was gonna be comfortably leading or even scoring a second point, but he had basically a position that was two possible results. He was gonna try to win it, or in worst case scenario, he thought, and we thought, that it was gonna be a draw. But even if it had been a draw, it was still a 1 point lead for him in the match. So he was so much not in danger. He must have fully blundered queen c7, and now if Nepomniachtchi wins, it's a tie in the match, and Magnus will have to win in the next game if he wants to lead. This is such a difference it makes in the semis.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, king f5 and maybe Magnus is gonna go knight d5. Hold on. Not so fast. So we have to calculate. Knight e5, knight b4. Probably what's gonna happen is a and g. The initials for chat, AG. We're gonna see Anish Giri on the board. Oh, hopefully not, because then one side's not gonna win. No, Anish, we love you. Hopefully, no one shows him that I said that.
He responded to Magnus's tweet. I was very happy to see that response. That was a good one.
Yes, it was great. Perfect response. Magnus continuing to kind of poke at Anish despite beating him. You never punch down is a very good philosophy. Yeah. And Anish responded, "Aw, he misses me already." And I was like, zing! Got him. And we will be seeing Anish in the majors, because in the next event, which is a major, I believe, because he did make the top 8. So
yes, he did. So the next event will be in just a month. We're gonna be back. This event is still going on, but the next one we already know is in a month at the end of December. So I hope you already have planned that December is about Christmas and watching the next leg of the Champions Tour here over at GMHikaru.
And let's not forget there's 2 other things in December besides Christmas.
2 birthdays.
Yes.
One is GMHikaru's birthday, and the other...
mine first. Oh, and by the way, I just want to apologize. I completely mixed something up the last time that I was that I said Hikaru's birthday.
When is his birthday? Did you tell us fake news? It's not December the 9th, you said?
No, wait, did Nepo just blunder a draw?
Well, Magnus's birthday is the first one, November 30th, and Nepomniachtchi wants to give him the present today.
Oh my god. It's the ghost of AG. He gave him the A and the G pawns, and he knew I can't believe it. Nepo just blunders knight e3 check. Nepo blundered that in this position, you don't have to take, it's knight e3. And that's it. Magnus is running the king. Oh my goodness.
Oh well.
What a horrible blunder. Oh no.
This game was a weird one. Nepomniachtchi going for something too solid against the dragon. Magnus taking the initiative, having a slightly better position, slightly better endgame where he blunders Queen C7. The tables turn. Nepomniachtchi was completely winning in the knight endgame and blunders the one way in which Black can simplify the position by sacrificing the knight, and the last pawn, the a pawn, will be captured after king b4. That's why it's a draw. That pawn is gone, and after the pawn is gone, there's not enough material to win.
Now, I think it's our duty to explain why he didn't just play the very natural-looking king f4. He didn't play king f4 because the king gets caught in a carousel. Check, and you can't move anywhere because of the perfect distance that black has in forking your king and pawn. That's like insane. Look, this is a pretty wild example of board geometry.
Mm-hmm.
Every single piece is involved. The kings are tugging for the knight. Anywhere you put the king, there is a fork awaiting that will win your pawn. So instead of taking, apparently he had to throw in a5. Just a patient move.
Mm-hmm.
Then he has to take on f4. And after king b5, you can run the pawn. You can run the pawn and box out the knight is the way you win this game. Something like king e4. And now look, the knight can't get close. In the words of Chael Sonnen. Can't let you get close. And that's it. But wow. Brutal, Anna. Anna, if you would have made a blunder like that, how would you have reacted? Like, was there ever an angry Anna that would like break things, or?
No, I'm not really the kind of person that breaks things. I mean, I would be angry at myself for sure because this game, yes, Magnus had the advantage earlier, but it was not that significant of an advantage. And then he blundered. So even the world champion is a human that can very rarely but blunder. Sometimes, very rarely, it happens even to him. Nepomniachtchi had his chance to tie the score in this match. And I think that's the part that will be painful, that he was given a chance, a big opportunity that he started taking, but then time pressure has gotten to him, which barely ever happens to Nepomniachtchi because he always is so fast that he never ever gets into time pressure. But in this game, Magnus has put time management against Nepomniachtchi. Something is just not quite right with Nepomniachtchi when you see how slow he is playing the first and second game. This is not him at his very best.
No, he did play very well. I mean, to his credit, he did play very well, but that's chess, you know? You don't just get a winning position and win. It's like any sport. You can be winning and then you can lose or draw, or I mean, in sports you can't quite draw, but I guess in football that's not in like a bracket, right? You like if it's just a regular match you can draw, but this position is not the most pleasant thing that Hikaru has experienced. I feel like the first two games here have just been like dentist appointments. Like you just getting poked and prodded, and it's man. But Hikaru's defending well to his credit.
Mm-hmm. So not a pleasant position, but not a disastrous one. Once again, we are hoping that Wesley's pacifist march will continue. At the same time, he went for d5. It's not that he never tries. We are perhaps a bit too harsh on Wesley when we say that he likes to take the safe side of the game. Maybe he doesn't risk, he doesn't go for unnecessary risk, that's for sure, but he knows that he's better and he's going to try to win because that's the only way forward. They are in a knockout format. If they draw this game, there will be a next game, and if they keep drawing, there will always be a next game. The match cannot end in a tie, so there will have to be one game that finally decides. And I think for that reason, in the knockout format, Wesley is perhaps more attentive to these positions where he has the upper hand, and he should try to use it.
I do agree. This one's just basically a matter of time. Mm-hmm. Will Wesley break through, or will Hikaru stabilize, hold, and create enough counterplay on the queen side that he is going to be able to hold? Oh man. Oh man. We're not worried about knight f5, queen h5, queen g6.
I would slightly be worried that knight on f5 is the same type of knight that Hikaru had, and I was so happy to see it in Hikaru's game. Here again, that would be quite a powerful piece. I think that will happen. Such a natural move to jump to f5.
Man, I guess knight f5, you have c3. That's what Hikaru wants. He's just making queenside counterplay. God, that knight on f5 it's worth as much as a rook at least.
I like that c3 seems to be at least an active counterplay that possibly is Hikaru counting on. Not possibly, for sure that's his plan. So will Wesley think that c3 is an issue and step out of it with the rook? He could move the rook now if he wants to step away from e2, but no, he's not afraid. Unfortunately, he's not afraid
to take a stand. c3. He can maybe sacrifice the rook completely, or even c3, rook c2. Not rook d2, rook c2. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
The counterplay is getting created. Wesley definitely looking good here. Definitely. Maybe Hikaru actually goes back to c8. Maybe Hikaru just says, no. Get out. Get out.
Yeah, that would be a logical decision to try to get rid of the knight before it's too late. You don't want to see the queen appearing on h5, g6, and all those attacking ideas. No.
But the issue is, then you can just trade and win the c-pawn. So the bishop can't both guard c4 and play defense on the other diagonal at the same time. Gosh, yeah. Strange. I guess after his preparation, Hikaru, instead of c5, had to go for something else. He probably had to play f6 without c5 or something. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll ask him for sure when he joins us. Remember that Hikaru most likely will be here with us after the 4th game. So every match consists of 4 rapid games. Today is the first day. Tomorrow is another one of those 4 games. 2 mini matches overall. And if there's no winner after the 2 rapid matches, then we go to the playoffs, Blitz and Armageddon.
Yeah, today will be shorter than tomorrow no matter what. Well, I mean, unless tomorrow is just 3 rapid games and then bye-bye. But yeah, tomorrow is the Blitz and the Armageddon if it does get to that point. Guys, g6, you can't play that. g6, you probably just lose on the spot, like something like check and back, and yeah, don't do this. This softens up your king side a bit too much. Hikaru does go bishop c8, and Wesley so goes back. Oh my god,
please
are we gonna repeat moves?
Please.
Wesley, don't tease me.
Flower power.
Wesley, don't tease me.
Socks. Anything you can spam. Please. Can we please spam? In order to.
Wesley So is like the king of unnecessary repetitions. Please. Wesley. Let me get that knight f5, bishop c8 one more time.
Two more times.
Yes, 2 more times. The meta in chess is you repeat once to gain time.
Yeah.
And also, normally in over-the-board play, there is a 40-move rule. And on the 40th move, you actually get more time. That's classical chess. I know, it sounds insane, right? 6 hours of chess coverage. But here, there is no 40th move bonus. So, repeating... Are they
Second time.
Oh, he plays rook c1. Damn, Wesley, why are you... Oh, Wesley playing with our emotions, man. Wesley is engaging in psychological warfare.
He is. This literally is... Levy is not even joking, but strong players do this, that they tease you that, oh, will I give you the draw? Will I not give you the draw? I repeat 2 times, but I don't repeat the 3rd time. So it would have been a draw if they have the exact same position 3 times. It's called threefold repetition. It's automatically a draw. But Wesley has now moved the rook. So that changes the position. There's no more repetition. Even if he jumps now back to e3, it's now a new position. He doesn't want the draw.
This is tough decision, and you see Hikaru tries to play a move quickly, and it's not even supposedly the best move. Apparently, the best move is just to take the knight, and Hikaru's not going for that. Looks like he's trying to create counterplay on a4. This is Hikaru's best chance. Hikaru's best chance is to create an absolute mess. But the problem is, Anna, can you even take on a4? Is there like knight g7 and queen f6? The same idea, by the way. Knight takes g7. as in Hikaru's previous game.
I'm terrified that we cannot take the pawn because, as you said, knight g7 looks like game over. We need the queen to guard the king. You gotta keep it close on the 7th rank. Maybe then to move it to f7 to then capture the knight on f5.
Yeah, Wesley also has another really nice idea, h4, by the way. Just same side pawn break, and what that does is Wesley finds the best move. That's the best move in the position. Now, if bishop a6, you can probably even sacrifice in some way.
h4
and there it is.
instantly. He's playing the best moves instantly. This is bad
Yeah,
news. We need to
this
survive. We need to
is...
survive.
But like, look, from move 22 onward, look at Hikaru's moves. Bishop b4, bishop c5, bishop b4, bishop c8, bishop a6, bishop c8. Like, Hikaru he's in a position where he can't move.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difficult thing here for black, is that you just can't move. Like, Wesley is doing a really good job controlling his pieces and his pawns. And Hikaru has to play this gross king f8 because knight h6 check was threatening to win the queen.
Exactly. And those of you who were asking why does it show so much advantage for Wesley when the material is equal, and actually right now it's still even a pawn down. He will need to capture that pawn on h4, but it's not only about material. So advantage could be because one has a piece up, a rook up, and now bishop takes f6. Oh no!
Oh man.
It's a good move. Unfortunately, the bishop sacrificed because if it's taken, then he will go for queen h4. Is it the move order? What's the right move order there? The knight on f5 is killing it.
Yeah, that's just nice. Gf6 and queen h4. Wow. Yeah, it looks like Wesley's gonna strike first. There is nothing here for black. Like, black just cannot move. This was actually a good opening experiment. Just c5, the smallest of moves is where the problems began. Wesley played d5, a4, and it was all Wesley after that. Very instructive game about how to play against two bishops. Actually, super instructive game.
Yeah, it was very instructive, and also this sacrifice, because you guys asked about the evaluation. I did not even manage to finish my sentence because the bishop is gone now. But this sacrifice is possible because black's pieces, the b4 bishop, the a6 bishop, and the rook on b8, those are three pieces that are not helping the king. White has, even without the bishop, white has more pieces that are targeting the black king. The knight on f5 is crucial, and the queen, obviously. And maybe in the future, if he needs it, he could bring the rooks through the 3rd rank. That would be another sacrifice. But I think it's over with the queen, the combination of the queen and the knight fighting against a king that has no bodyguards. The pawns, the G and H pawns, are gone. They are gone from the board because of the sacrifice, and only the black queen trying to hold things together. It cannot work. If now Wesley gives a check, what's the right move order? Queen. Which check do you think is the most accurate one, Levi?
I actually think it's even worse than that. I think there's just rook c3.
Is it the best move? Because I was thinking if rook c3, bishop takes, rook takes, and rook b3. I thought Hikaru.
Rook b3.
Hikaru
rook
is still
b3.
surviving.
Oh, rook b3. Oh, so Wesley just look at how good White's position is. White can play rook e2.
Be a rook down. Be a rook down after rook c3, and it's still not even losing for Wesley, but it's not the right move.
This is crazy. He doesn't even have to give a check. He can play a move to then go up and over, and Hikaru doesn't have time to move a single piece. It's insane. Insane. If you play bishop c5, the second rook comes. But then there's rook b3 anyway. Anna's idea. So bishop c5, what does he want?
If bishop c5, rook c3, rook b3, right? So that still holds for now. For now, it holds.
Okay, he plays rook e5. Now Wesley's gonna go here, and then is Hikaru gonna play bishop d2? Gonna play bishop d2 with a fork? What is he gonna play? Rook g3 is just mate, no? King f8, queen h. I mean, it's just if you let the rook get here, it's checkmate. So Hikaru probably has to sacrifice. What are we missing? Is he gonna sack his queen? He probably has to sack his queen.
Do you think that's what he's considering?
Well, I think he's just kind of playing moves for now. You know, you gotta. Wesley
Wait.
could be
Wait a
losing his
second.
mind for a second, but he's still definitely winning because Queen G7 is the only move. Queen G7 is the only move.
So in this very moment, Wesley So has given up 2 pieces for the attack. 2 pieces up for Hikaru, but those 2 bishops are not doing anything. They almost as if they were not on the board. This is checkmate in a few moves.
Oh my gosh, Hikaru's blundered a mating net. Maybe Hikaru... What did he miss?
I don't know. There's no follow-up. You have to resign here.
Oh my gosh. Because after this, there's Rook H6 and it's just over. King F7, Queen F6.
Oh no.
I mean, obviously Hikaru wouldn't have played into this if he saw this in advance. So I'm just...
Yeah.
So Queen G7, why didn't he play? Because after this... It's still lost, but after Bishop D2, you don't quite get this. Just Bishop G5. I mean, it's still very not good. Let's put it this way. Very not good. Oh man, and we already have moves, by the way, in the other game. Carlsen, Nepo.
Oh, so to sum up the situation, this wasn't what we wanted. It's not what we were hoping for, but it's not the end of the world. There are 2 more games to go for Hikaru. He has to make a comeback in the next 2 games, and we know him for his comeback. So I know this is unpleasant. I don't think he's happy for this game. At the same time, he's making it really exciting for us. So we are also about to get a heart attack every time this happens. But drama, we have it. Throwing for content, as Ludwig would say. Is this throwing for content? I don't think it's part of our plan, but we'll
No.
take it the way it is. Hikaru will need to make a comeback in the next 2 games.
No. It's most certainly not that. We don't do this to make things more exciting.
No, this is so painful, unfortunately, for Hikaru, but he has to put it aside. He has about 10 minutes to forget about this game, move on, and win the next one. He has to make a comeback. The problem is that it's this game, and also in the previous game, he was struggling. So today he has played 2 games, and in both games, he had issues. In the first one, some issues. In this game, huge issues. So there's something that he has to change, and he'll need to figure out what. He has about 10 minutes to figure out what he has to change.
Curious, what? Magnus played Bishop D2. It makes sense, because you block the check with attack the queen. But, Queen A3. What is that? What is that move? What a weird move. Just hitting D4, and the queen just...
I feel
Just
like
wait
I've
it-
seen this, but maybe I'm confusing it with something else. I'm gonna take a look at the database because I feel like I've seen this.
Yeah, exactly. Hikaru will give game odds because he knows that, you know, viewers will come and it will get things more exciting. Correct. Yeah, I mean, listen, if that's the mindset we want to have, that's the mindset we want to have. It's okay.
The game between Carlsen and Nepomniachtchi, for once I wasn't imagining things. This still has happened in almost 70 games.
But definitely not the most popular. I mean, isn't Queen D2 instead of Bishop D2 like by far the main line?
No, in this move order, Bishop D2. I don't know why.
Okay.
Though.
Well, I do not touch the Grunfeld with a 10-foot pole, so I would like to apologize to the Grunfeld gods. Please don't punish me.
I would not know this if I did not open the database. All I know is that I've seen this, but that's all. That's not much information. So this is still a theoretical line. It's going somewhat better than the previous one for Nepomniachtchi, where he blundered a piece in 15 moves. This is move 12, and it's still theory. So,
what's the move here for white?
Let me see what's the most popular. I'm not sure. D5. I think D5 has been played in most games, almost every game. Yeah, most of the games, 59 games, D5.
So you can give away the rook, huh? Okay.
Yeah, that exchange sacrifice. And after D5, very few dare to take the rook.
Yeah, no, because this looks terrible, because Bishop H6 also.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Gotta love this. D5, and then black goes knight e5, and then what? Like take and castle or something crazy?
D5. After D5, the main move is knight to E5, and as you said, take, take, and then they move the rook. Or you can castle. Castle did happen in 7 games, and rook b1 in 11. Both of them are equally equally frequent. Top players have played castle. They just don't care about the hanging rook at all.
That's good. That's yeah. There you go. That's why the Grunfeld is crazy stuff for lower rated players. Because you got stuff like D5 here. Wow, kind of a strange moment where Magnus is spending like 2 minutes
Mm-hmm.
in the opening.
And we are waiting for Hikaru's game. It will start in a few minutes. Hopefully, this short break will help him reset and start a blank page, because the first 2 games didn't go according to plan. It's not what Hikaru wished for. Both games weren't a good situation. The first one, he escaped with a draw from a worse position. The second game, he could not escape. It's now point lead for Wesley So, and Hikaru has to make a comeback. Just like yesterday, he needed a comeback. Today, we do need that comeback again.
Yeah, we do. This is not what we wanted.
No.
Not what any of us wanted.
Mm-mm.
This is. But what Hikaru would want is for chat to have a lot of energy and being here in support. So y'all have been good today. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for being here again. It's insane that every single day over 30,000 of you show up here over at GMHikaru. The 2 channels combined. Today we are live on my channel too. We have almost 40,000 of you watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sending your energy Hikaru's way. He knows it. He knows that he's supported by the biggest chess community here on Twitch. This is it. This is, as he said, if chess can get these many viewers constantly during tournaments like this, it really does feel like chess is an esport, because there are so many of you tuning in every day to see what's going on the 64 squares. Chess wasn't a trendy, cool new video game. It is an Asian game, but now it's having a new era where it is becoming an esport. TSM Hikaru, thanks to TSM Hikaru, we have this new angle where chess is popular now also among video games, sometimes more popular than video games.
Definitely more popular than some video games. I'm not going to say which video games were more popular than, but yeah, well, we can't quite compete with Among Us. Yeah, Among Us tends to trend a little bit higher, a little bit better. But
Hikaru does play Among Us too.
Little bit. Better, chess preferred though. I'm really surprised here from Magnus actually.
Are you? That he's spending this long. And then he goes bishop e3. Wait, is he gonna repeat? Is this why he was thinking? Is it what he was considering whether to make a draw or not?
Nepo doesn't have to repeat. So we'll see if Nepo wants to repeat. I don't know, man. It's Nepo, so
Yeah.
maybe. Wow, Hikaru plays bishop e3. He's going for repetition. That's very funny. That's very funny.
So bishop e3 by Magnus Carlsen and queen a5 check.
Oh, did I say Hikaru? I apologize, guys. Hikaru didn't finish his game and then go play. I like that initiative though. It's repetition. So we have no games for the next few minutes. So here's the plan. I'm gonna go and get I'm gonna get something to eat real quick. Bring it right back. No break. I want all of you to follow Anna_chess on Twitch because she's at 67.9. So let's try to get her to the nice number. I will be. I'll be right back. Anna, it's all yours. Feel free to plug as many of your own things as you'd like.
I'm gonna plug the Gotham Chess channel because Levi is always way too nice, as well as Hikaru. As I said earlier, Hikaru said I'm gonna have to reach 100,000 followers by end of January, and he was considering to say end of December 1st. Just and a no pressure, you're at 67, are we at 67? Double down, double down, get to 100K. He believes in me too much. It feels amazing, though. It feels amazing that the biggest chess streamer out there, with all respect to Ludwig, obviously, but when the biggest chess streamer on the planet believes in you to such an extent that your channel will too keep growing in such a speedy way, because this is fast-paced growth, and you guys are the reason. The reason is that you watching right now, yes, I'm talking about you have followed Hikaru's channel, the Gotham Chess channel, and now you perhaps are also following my channel. You're way too kind. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. But I do need to give a shout out, because I'm not gonna use my time to give more plugs to my social platforms and such. I'm gonna use this time to take over the GMHikaru channel and say that my co-host does deserve all the support too. Gotham Chess. We alternate the second channel every day. We are at the main stage, GMHikaru, but the second channel we go live on every day is either Levy's channel or mine. Today we are on my channel. Tomorrow we're gonna be at the Gotham Chess channel. Do follow Levy's channel too, because he puts tons of hours into creating chess content on Twitch, on YouTube, and he deserves the support. He does deserve it. He's wholesome. He just hides it. You cannot ironic the guy. You cannot. Don't try to ironic the guy. Thank you so much, everyone. You are so kind. I'm reading all the chat. I have both the GMHikaru chat open and the Anna Chess chat open. Thank you so much for being so kind. Honestly, it means a lot. You guys don't know how it feels that so many of you are being extremely positive, supportive, kind to us and to each other. Because it's one thing that we receive all this love and support as the streamers, but what makes me even I think more, it warms my heart even more that you guys are like that to each other. This is a true community where you guys are supporting each other, you're backing each other, you are being so kind to one another, and that's the coolest thing about these communities. Thank you for being so wholesome. Levy's back, so let's pretend we haven't had this conversation. Don't tell him what I said about him.
I just see that you got up to 69,000, so that was the goal. I mean, y'all literally just got 1,000 followers, and I got an acai bowl, so everybody's happy.
Thank you.
You know
so
who's
much.
not yet happy?
Hikaru.
Yeah.
He needs to make a comeback. He has to make a comeback.
Yeah, he does.
Will you share your food with us, by the way, Levy? Just asking.
No. Because how would I... Everybody has to get a spoon and scoop some out? That doesn't sound very sanitary.
Can we like at least have a zoom in? Just like a close up and pretend that we have a bite. Because I'm so hungry now. I'm so hungry now.
It's some acai, some fruit.
Oh, that looks so good.
Update the standings? Okay, cool. Yeah, we will do that. It's 2-1. Yes.
That looks so good. I'm so hungry. I ordered food as well, but it's not here yet, I think. I'm gonna probably have to wait until the end of the broadcast. But yes, my community made an order for me, basically. No, I think it will be here, but I don't think we have time for breaks, and I'm not supposed to eat on stream because I had all sorts of dental issues, so I stopped snacking. I love food. I would eat on stream anytime I could, but because I had all those very serious dental problems, I always try to like not to do it. And Levi knows that if we have a break, it means I need to go and run to eat and then brush my teeth and then put my lipstick back on. So it's an entire procedure to get some food during stream. So I'm just gonna stay hungry and look at your food instead, Levi.
Oh,
we lost
sorry.
Connection?
No.
No, Magnus lost connection?
No, nobody lost connection. I actually thought the game was just over.
Yeah,
wait,
that's
they
what
didn't
I
repeat
thought.
moves?
What? Who did not continue then? They repeated twice and then...
Okay, Queen C3?
Wait, but this is still almost the same?
So he played Queen B2 instead of Queen A3. Oh. Oh, okay.
All right.
Guys, just repeat. What is wrong? What is all this like?
I
Okay,
thought that was
great.
already a draw. I moved away because I thought they already have agreed in a draw.
Well, Nepo playing mind games. So now, if Magnus continues to try to repeat with bishop c1, you will lose a rook. So what's going to happen is rook b1, queen a2, probably. That's probably what's going to happen. Otherwise, you lose d4. Is Nepo also just playing mind games with Magnus? Is that what's happening?
Maybe. He has to make a comeback. Maybe he thinks he's going to use this game because Magnus spent a lot of time to decide whether he wanted the draw. So that's a tricky thing. If you spend, he invested a good, was it 5 minutes, 4 minutes? But he invested quite some time deciding whether to even offer the repetition of moves. Then he went for it, but now he's already behind on the clock. So Nepomniachtchi decides, hey, I could try to use this and somehow turn the tables. The position two obviously should not be anything special. It's equal. But he does have the time advantage and the psychological advantage because he's the one declining the draw.
Wesley is going for a defense known as the semi-tirash. It looks kind of like a mirror. Here, the critical kind of idea is cd5. But then I think that Wesley will go knight d5. e4, knight c3, take, bishop b4, bishop d2, take, castles. And all of the GMs play this now. All of them. Oh, but he takes on d4. This is also another way. This is also another way.
I'm going to open the database in the meantime, but yes, still very theoretical.
Mm-hmm.
Move 5. Wow.
Yeah.
Everything is theoretical until move 10 nowadays. At least move 10.
We saw this earlier in the tournament too. So the line that I was showing guys is this. It's a very forced kind of sequence, which results in white debating which way to play with the rook or the bishop, etc. Black is very passive here, but very solid. But cd5, cd4 is... Anna, you have the database, right? How rare is cd4?
cd4 is extremely rare. For the position of the c takes d5, we have over 5,800 games. And c takes d4 happened in about 10% of those, a bit over 10. My math is terrible. 600 games, let's say, out of the 5,800.
And there we go. So, yeah. Now, you are probably not going to play DE... That's crazy. Hikaru's already thinking. He's already thinking here what to play. This did happen. We did see someone else play this. Who played cd5, cd4 in the preliminaries?
Goodness me, if I could recall it. Now that you're saying it, I know that we have seen it, but I will not be able to recall it. I'm sure that the viewers know it much better than my memory.
Qualat. It was him. Qualat said that it was him.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. Yeah, we watched it in the sub battles.
Shout out to Qualat for playing it. I think we did see this, but I don't remember who played it. Don't remember who played it. Queen a4 check. Okay, because nothing can go to c6. Okay. Yup. This is some line. Okay, so we're going to get knight d5, maybe. Hikaru's just going to grab the pawn. He's just going to take the juicer. Isn't that just a free juicer?
It looks like a free juicer to me.
Moves in the Magnus game? Yeah, guys, we know. It's on the left side. Bottom left. As opposed to top left. And...
So Wesley's sacrificing a pawn. Yeah, and also the pawn is gone in the Magnus game. We have both games on. Yes, no draws, both games on. Both of them with material disadvantage for white in Magnus's game. Material disadvantage for Wesley if Hikaru takes the pawn. Knight takes d5. I don't think there's any trick there. If queen a5 check, the knight comes back to c3.
But something can happen like check, knight c3, knight c6, and black has a lead in development. And for the unprepared, this looks a little bit scary. So Hikaru just plays e3, just plays a very solid move. And he gets a position here where he has an isolated pawn for black. And the way you play against this is you'll just play very solidly and go for a long-term endgame advantage using the d4 square. But yeah, black is more developed, which is why the advantage is slightly in black's favor.
I'm still surprised that Wesley was so ready to just give up that pawn. But he played all this, every single move basically. He was blitzing out, meaning that it is his preparation. And then it's tricky to capture a pawn and give initiative to your opponent for the pawn when you know that your opponent wants to play that position, has it analyzed with the engine. So I think it
Hmm.
was a practical decision by Hikaru to not to enter a complex line that his opponent clearly prepared, because Wesley was on over 16 minutes by the time he offered the pawn.
And there's no theory here, right? Like, there's no. This hasn't been played before.
There are very few games where I don't think that these games are games that they are aware of. There's no Grandmaster game.
Well, there you go. There you go. Wesley paving the way for new GM theory. Chat, you're witnessing history once again. You are all being part of history for the past week.
You're being part of history, and we need you to keep being part of history because, reminder, Hikaru has to make a comeback again. Just like yesterday, he has to make a comeback again. So far, it is Wesley who has taken the lead this and the next game. Two more games to go, but Hikaru needs to make a comeback in order to turn the tables and win the match. So far, it's not going our way.
But what's next for Wesley in this position? How is he going to expand now? I mean, of course, you castle. Bishop g4 doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. You're not pinning the knight to the queen, so what are
Yeah.
you doing?
Can
Bishop
I just say
e6?
one thing? Because the copy pastas are always so wholesome and so supportive, but I don't get who started the strawberry pasta and muting Levy. I hope that you guys realize that Mr. Gotham Chess dedicates every single day of this week of his life to entertain you guys, to educate you guys, and to run the show. I'm here just like sitting on a Zoom call. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to even touch the mouse. He handles the whole production, and you guys are not appreciating. I know it's a very small percentage, but I'm gonna call you out on this because I am not gonna stand for a copy pasta that's not supportive and positive. If you wanna spam something that's kind, spam something that's worth sharing. Is it worth sharing toxicity and hate? No, please keep it to yourself. Thank you so much. Back to the games.
Oh, that was so nice. I was uh I was just gonna mute. I could eat. I mean, I can't really like snack if I'm not muted. So that was very wholesome. Thank you, Anna.
If you want to mute yourself to eat, fine, but there cannot be copy pastas that are rude, whether it's about Levi, about Wesley, Hikaru, myself, or the community. I don't care whom you are being rude to. You should not be spreading negativity. Full stop.
What? Wow, Wesley. It's trying to fight right away. By the way, he's not trying to castle or anything. He just goes for knight e4. Hikaru is very happy to give up the dark squared bishop by with bishop d2. I don't. Yeah, Wesley just takes this way.
Mhm.
Ooh, ooh. Okay. How how tame. How tame by Wesley. Just knight e4, trades his bishop, trades his knight. Wesley's being very practical, Anna.
Too practical because he's leading in the match. He was ready to sacrifice a pawn, but it was for compensation. So Black was gonna take the initiative there because Hikaru was lacking development. So that wasn't a free pawn for nothing. It was Wesley's preparation to give up that pawn for development and activity. But other than that moment where it would have been a material disadvantage, as you said, Levi, he's taking it so practical that it's a bit too practical. It gives Hikaru less chances because the position is very, very quiet. It's not easy to do something when everything is so solid, everything well protected. The king is safe after castle kingside. Both kings are safe, but for Wesley, two draws means that he wins the match today. Like he doesn't need to win. He can just stay solid, make a draw, and claim that he won today's match.
Uh, Nepo left the room.
Really?
What's
I
going
mean,
on, guys?
they can go to the bathroom, so that's fine.
Well, Anna, if he did it, I gotta do it too. I'm actually gonna put this back in the freezer because I just realized this was a tactical blunder. There's no way I can eat like a rapidly unfreezing piece of food. It's going to melt. So now, chat, I want us to get Anna to 70. Every time I leave, we need 1,000 new followers on Anna's channel. That's what we need. That's the deal.
You're way too supportive, Levy. Way too supportive. As I said, I'm gonna give a shout out to my co-host, Gotham Chess. We are live today on Hikaru's channel and on my channel, but tomorrow it's gonna be at the Gotham Chess channel. Always the main stage at Hikaru's, and we are alternating the secondary channel. I think I have too many followers. I don't think I deserve all this much support and love. You guys are being very nice to me, and I really appreciate it. But don't feel like you have to follow me, even if Hikaru put tons of pressure on me. I know he does it because he believes in me more than I believe in myself, and he wants to see me succeed as well. It's just, honestly, think about how Hikaru is as a person, as a friend, that he has succeeded as being the biggest chess streamer, and not just in the chess category. He is also among the biggest streamers on Twitch, and it's not enough for him that he has his channel as a success story. He wants his friends to succeed too, and that's just insane, the amount of support he gives to Levy and to me to help us succeed too, because he wants our channels to grow. And I think that's mind-blowing. He genuinely is such a supportive, such a kind person that wants to see others make it too, that he wants to see others succeed just as much.
I have asked to see the regulation, the official regulation.
Okay.
And I think it's obviously the same for both players. All the players, maybe the contracts look a little bit different, but
About the bathroom breaks.
yeah, I was under the impression that if they wrote to the arbiter,
Yeah, if they ask for permission, that's what I thought, that
yes,
you can ask for permission. We're gonna clarify it to be sure, because also I think we are somewhat confused because they had a set of regulations for the previous Magnus Tour, and some of that regulation has been changed. Also, the format has been changed, so we want to make sure that we tell you the right information. I thought that for the previous tour, maybe I'm wrong, but they had the first X amount of time, or was it the US Championship? We have had so many broadcasts that I'm gonna confuse. But depending on the tournament, there were different types of regulations. How many minutes into the game it's okay to go to the bathroom and such. So yeah, that was the US Championship. I'm confusing it. So at the US Championship, they had the first 15 minutes. To go to the bathroom if they needed. After the 15 minutes were up, you couldn't. You had to sit there. They would have to ask the arbiters, but bathroom breaks are prohibited. So prohibited, really? Even if he asked for permission, he cannot.
wow.
Um,
Uh,
we we are somewhat confused because I thought they were allowed, but maybe they aren't. But isn't Nepomniachtchi aware that he's not allowed to just go to the loo?
Maybe he just thinks that nothing is gonna happen. I have no idea. Nepo's also just better in this position. He's got the 2 pawns and he's not afraid to use them. I mean, literally, his last few moves have just been pushing his A-pawn. Nothing out of the ordinary. Very strange. And it's still his move. So if Nepo moves, it probably means that he's not been reprimanded, right?
Yeah.
Now our clock will run. Wait, what? Oh, okay. So there's like a clip came out like 10 minutes ago on Twitter of Magnus exasperated and slamming and gesturing something at his screen, but it looks like some technical issues. Okay. Players are not allowed to leave their desk and camera while a game of theirs is in progress. This includes bathroom breaks. There will be regular breaks. A breach of this regulation will result in an immediate loss of the game in progress. In cases of emergency, a player may consult with the chief arbiter.
Oh, so he could have asked for permission, but it does say bathroom breaks, and the game goes on, so nothing happened in terms of the game hasn't been stopped by the arbiters.
Okay.
Those of you who are wondering, by the way, there are arbiters observing the cameras of the players, so there are all sorts of fair play regulations in place. That has been the case of the previous Magnus Tour as well. There are 3 cameras usually pointing at the players from all sorts of angles, and there are arbiters constantly on the call. But I wonder if Nepomniachtchi asked for permission, for instance. That's a piece of information we are not aware of, whether he did ask for permission or not.
He probably... I mean, at the end of the day, this is like being in school. And you have a strict teacher who's like, you can't go to the bathroom. And you go, but then I'm gonna, like, go on the floor. And they're like, okay, go, right? Like, there's always a way, you know?
Yeah.
You threaten the teacher to go right then and there. Well, then, you know. Now, if Nepo threatened to do that in his own house, it probably wouldn't, like, they'd be like, okay, that's kind of idiotic. That's not really a threat. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, okay, they say you can't go in emergency, but, come on, we were all in school at some point, right? We all did that, so.
Yeah, well, we shall see if there's any tweet coming up about this, any other piece of information we can share. But for now, all that we know is that a bathroom break probably happened. Probably there was a permission asked. I would assume that Nepomniachtchi asked. Not, it's not clear, but that would be my assumption.
Okay, yeah, and Chad is saying that, okay, yeah, the official show said that he got permission. I mean, really, how hard is it to ask for permission? Yo, I gotta go. You can't. Can you hold it? No. Okay, go.
Yeah, okay. Case clarified and closed. He asked for permission. He was given permission. He went to the bathroom. He's back, and they are continuing the game.
Yeah, Hikaru has gone for c4. Now Wesley can play the move knight a5, and I think we gonna have some trades. Actually, then Hikaru can play c5, so maybe not so fast. Wesley has some weaknesses. Don't be fooled by this 0-0-0. Don't be fooled. Also, Magnus might lose this game.
Yes, the advantage is now getting bigger and bigger for Nepomniachtchi. After his bathroom break, there's nothing stopping him for this pawn break, g5, to get through, undermine the e5 pawn. And if he gets the e5 pawn, the rook on a1 being targeted, the a-pass pawn will have more support thanks to the bishops. This is looking terrifying.
Okay, c5 in the Hikaru game. Yeah, the game between Magnus and Nepo. Well, Magnus is good at creating as many practical chances as possible. But I don't know if you're going to be able to do that here.
Well, Magnus already escaped from several bad positions. Having just seen one against Nepomniachtchi, that knight game was a losing one. He escaped. He also escaped from a terrible position against Anish Giri. So Magnus Houdini Carlsen, as we nicknamed him, is trying to do it again, and he will fight until the very end. That's why he's the world champion. Nepomniachtchi has to win this game 10 times in order to convert, because that's how it feels to take down the world champion. He will just always be resourceful and try and try and try. At the same time, this position looks just really bad. G takes f4, I would assume, is one of the main moves here, and then capture the e5 pawn.
Yeah, both boards are kind of deep in the trenches of a middle game. Hikaru's position is kind of right on that fine line where pieces are about to get traded. Potential endgame arriving. Really imbalanced endgame, actually. Like, if everything gets traded, and there are weaknesses on d5 and e6, rook a5, rook c7, rook d1, f4, bishop g4, these kinds of things. All there.
Magnus keeps playing fast. This is the first game where he is below on time too. So the first 2 games, so Magnus Carlsen being up on the clock, and against Nepomniachtchi, it's not an easy thing to do. Although it felt like it was the other way around. It was Nepomniachtchi who was slower than his usual form. Now, after he rejected the draw, it was Nepomniachtchi who didn't. He did not want to repeat moves against the world champion. He refused to make a draw. He kept the game going, has a better position and more time. Will this be the turning point in the match where Nepomniachtchi ties the score? Can he do it? What do you guys think? Let us know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we just I think we've been alternating between different chat modes. we've been a little pleb in a sub fight, but just friendly reminder, you can bypass any sort of chat restriction, except for emote mode, if you make sure you link your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account. Now, see, at this point, this is when the plebs would spam, "Oh, again? Oh, Pogo." Well, if you do that, then, oh, and I'm getting that from the subs too. Subs! How many of you are Twitch Prime subs? Don't do that to me. We have a moment here without the plebs. They're all waiting. They're all patiently awaiting for that little barrier to lift. They're all waiting. They're gonna jump us, and we have a little hype train. Nice. Anyway, you can click subscribe and subscribe for free. And as I said yesterday, we'll do one of these daily plugs because the reality of the situation is that it's hard for a channel to sustain itself when its main person isn't there for 10 days. Right? Like, if Hikaru plays the entire duration of this event, there's a chance he doesn't stream for like a week straight. So we gotta uphold, certain metrics on the channel, and that's why we shout it out. And you want to support Hikaru in his quest for glory, emotes, different parts of his Discord, or Anna, if you're in her chat, make sure to
And
to
Gotham
do that.
Chess.
I'm not live today, I'm slacking, so
I'm sure there are people on your channel too. There always are.
I did get 2 offline primes, yes, but do
See?
drop them in Hikaru's, yes. So we do appreciate you all very much. Prime season's gonna be busy with the holidays coming, so. Anyway, plebs, I love you. So hopefully when they release you, we're still friends.
We
All
do
right?
appreciate each and every one of you, whether you can subscribe or not. Thank you. We are so grateful every single day that you support Hikaru, that you want him in the finals, because the finals could be Hikaru versus Magnus. If they both keep advancing in the knockout system, today is the semifinals. If they win today and tomorrow, because it's 2 days, every match is 2 days. But if they move on, it's gonna be Hikaru versus Magnus in the finals. And as Levi said, there's this thing called Amazon Prime. If you already have it, you have a free subscription. So you don't even need to spend money on your subscription if you already have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, your package is faster, so. H4. I guess Hikaru wants G3. He wants to control some of these pawns. So really, I'm thinking about this endgame is that Black can just play Knight C5 and take. It's a fork.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Black is about to do that. So there we go. Yeah, it's going to be a draw.
Thank you so much for the subscriptions, everyone. Yes, exactly. That's how you do it. You just link your Amazon account to your Twitch, and then it's free. It's not a scam. It's free every month. Wherever you want to spend it for free, it's free on any channel.
Does Anna look like a scammer? She wouldn't scam. She means it.
I wish I could sometimes learn to be one, though I always lose as an imposter in Among Us.
Yeah. Yep. Okay,
you cannot pretend.
Hikaru's not going to win this game. So if Hikaru wants to save today's match, he needs to play for a win with the black pieces, which is not something that he wanted because Wesley So is wildly solid as a player. So trying to beat him with black. Wesley's got the mighty extending arms pawn formation, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Oh, by the way, yeah? Magnus, where the hell are all the pieces? There was like a bunch of pieces. Where did they all go?
Yeah, very good question. They were playing 2 rook 2 bishop endgame. Most of those pieces are gone now, and we are down to this rook endgame, which is 2 pawns up for Nepomniachtchi, but the 2 of them are doubled.
Yeah, so Magnus is like a practical genius.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it a rook endgame, understanding that being 2 pawns down isn't a big deal if you can stabilize. And he's trying to basically say that this is now probably it is lost. Like black will walk the king, and then push the b pawn. Probably that is how you win. Now the endgame on the big screen, guys, rook endgame. Yeah, this one truly is just a draw. You know what's crazy? We might have 2 games end at the same time, and we might actually have a break. Just
Oh, that's impossible, Larry. We are here to be glued onto our chairs. I wasn't gonna leave.
oh well, we actually we can just stay in the chair. We'll just put a break screen on. So hi chat, welcome back. Welcome, but remember that and it's a draw, by the way, officially. I think Pogo is honestly my favorite emote. It is so funny. It's just the best facial expression.
I love it.
Oh, so no wonder it's named that letter. Okay, let's try to learn here from this game.
Yeah, and just to sum up the situation for Hikaru, it's a draw this game, but there's one more to go. The format is 4 rapid games each day, today and tomorrow. It's 2 matches, 2 mini matches that make up the overall match. So he has to make a comeback. In the next game, in the final game, Hikaru will go all in because a draw and the loss is the same. The only result that matters to him is a win, and that's not the mentality of grandmasters usually. They don't put everything on one card. They don't risk 100%, but Hikaru will have to. He has to because a draw is just like a loss for the scoreboard. It doesn't matter if he loses or draws.
There is one fine gentleman who is he's not spamming emotes along with the Hikaru chat. He's in my offline stream chat doing the same emotes. It's like what's like the best comparison to say? It's like the chat here in Hikaru's chat is like doing different stuff, you know, like all together. my man's just in the offline chat, just writing emotes. Oh, it's been good. This is fun.
Let's give him some company. Can someone give them company over at the Gotham Chess offline channel?
This is great. I mean, this is like, it's like y'all broke into the store, you know, all the lights are off. Y'all broke. I swear there is nothing funnier than offline chat. You know, like on Twitch, guys, those of you that are here before we go live are you guys are always here in Hikaru's chat, and you guys are like, anyone here early, and you guys are all having a good time. You know, what fans do this better than anybody? Semei's fans, Semei Reina's fans. They do this better than anybody else I've ever seen. He's gonna boot up a stream. 1,000 people are waiting for him. Anna, imagine the day we get to that level.
Yeah, 1,000 people in the offline chat. That's gonna be the day.
Okay, chat. Okay. Let's go. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back over to GMHikaru. Let's bring it back over and listen. Let's get serious. I know we're all having a good time. It's Friday. It's Black Friday. Hopefully you guys got yourselves something nice. But we gotta get serious. Hikaru has to win this game. Hikaru must win this game. He's down 2-1 against Wesley and he's playing with the black pieces. So what would we do? What do we want to say to Hikaru, who might pop in here for a second? Let me get some hearts in the GMHikaru chat. Or one of your favorite Hikaru emotes.
That would be awesome. And a bit of flower power. That never hurts. A bit of flower power.
Yeah, we need that. We definitely need that.
It worked yesterday. It should work today too. Keep sending your energy his way. Almost 35,000 of you solely here at the GMHikaru channel. My channel is live too, so combined we have over 40,000 of you watching. Thank you so much for your support. We need it now again more than ever. I know you heard this phrase yesterday, but it's because this is the same situation. We need a comeback. It's the final game of the day, and it's all or nothing for the match. Will it be a comeback? It has to be a comeback.
Yeah, we have to win. We have to win. I mean, luckily we have tomorrow. There is always tomorrow. By making it to the semifinals, you guarantee yourself 2 dates. 2 dates. And at least 6 games. In this case, Hikaru gets a 4th game against Wesley. But having said that, we also did take a 1-0 deficit against MVL the first day of play. Now, Hikaru certainly knows the format this time. He definitely knows he's not eliminated when he comes to join us. We will tell him, obviously, but
he will not lose. I think he'll make a comeback. I feel that thanks to your support, thanks to your energy, all those spams, the copy pasta, keep it up. Keep it up because he does hang out on Twitch in between games. And I want him to see all this. I want him to see how you're supporting him.
Oh, wow. Okay, so apparently Ceci says this endgame is completely lost. Which is very bad news for Nepo, because that means that there is a chance he finds a way to draw it. If the last game, you know, if patterns mean anything in chess.
It says it's lost.
It says it's lost. Yeah, let me take a look how. Let me take a look how. Now, like I said, guys, this is going to be the biggest thing here is that Nepo's up 2 pawns, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But Anna, it's the B pawn. That's the $1 million pawn. So it's going to be a delicate balance between making sure this side of the board can continue to move forward. The more pawns you trade from Magnus, the better. And the B pawn will move forward slowly. So let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. So the best move here, you have to either play rook d5 or rook e5. He's played rook d5. Now, if you go check, rook block. King and pawn endgame is losing.
And if white takes the pawn on f4, that's the moment for him to push or bring the king closer.
So this is actually very, very, very difficult. This is very difficult. So Nepo has to sacrifice his f pawn. So Nepo cannot make progress in this position unless he gives up this pawn, obviously, right? Because he can't push this pawn through. There we go. He's trying now, but rook b8 is apparently the wrong way. Rook d2 is apparently the wrong way to do it.
Goodness, it's happening again. Is Magnus escaping again from a really difficult endgame?
Apparently here, a move ago, Nepo had to play f5, king f4, and rook d4 check. This would have forced Magnus to go to g5 or e3. If he goes to g5, he cuts himself off, and now b4 is just winning. Look at that. Look at that, chat. That would have been just completely winning. But instead of that, we got... And by the way, if Magnus had played king back, his king would have still been cut off, and then king e5, king f4 would have come in, like this. Wow. But he played rook d2, and Magnus is going to save this.
It was so difficult to find the most accurate way. And now Ceci literally says theoretical draw, because we don't have the g2 pawn anymore, but what I was going to say, that even if the h3 pawn disappears, h and f pawns, 2 pawns up for black, but it is a theoretical draw, and I'm pretty sure that Magnus would notice even if he was half asleep, because he knows endgames back and forth, and this is the right defense. He's doing just what you have to. I don't think I would be able to hold it. I haven't revised this in ages, but this is a draw. H and f pawns.
I know how to hold it.
You do?
Yeah, so...
Tell us about this system.
Chad, this is kind of insane, but if you ever end up in an endgame with f and h versus king and rook, like this, this is a draw. This is a draw. Now, obviously, your opponent's going to try to push, but Magnus is doing the right thing. You have to keep the rook in the corner, the opposite corner. Why? Because you can give flank checks from the back and side checks, and your king should try to be, like, here, on the 2 magic squares, f2, f3. Now, having said that, there's winning techniques for the opponent to try to extract you, but you should try to be on f2, f3. But, Anna, the difference is that normally the black rook is on the other side. And now it's not. It's like stuck in the corner. So isn't this just a very easy draw because the rook can't move?
I would assume so. And as long as you cannot activate the rook, only the king and the pawn will not make it through. And the moment you move the rook away, the h3 pawn falls, and the f pawn alone will not be able to win the game. This is a very important theoretical position that many of us would fail to defend. I'm calling myself as one of those who would definitely not recall the correct defense. But for super grandmasters, this is a pretty simple task to do, especially when your name is Magnus Carlsen. He has done it again. He made a comeback again from a lost endgame.
Wow. This one was a lot harder than the last one. The last one was a little bit tricky. Nepo definitely made an uncharacteristic mistake. But this one was just straight up, yeah, brutal. Now it's king, rook, and one pawn. This is a very well-known draw. In general, if your king is like directly in front of the other king with rooks, you should be able to draw it. But not always. And in this particular situation, it's a draw. See, rook goes to the corner. I'm gonna come here, and when this pawn gets to f4, it's gonna be the Philidor position. It's gonna be the Philidor position. Everybody go look at Philidor position. PHI, not FIL. Go look it up.
One of the most important rook and game positions, the Philidor position, and how to defend. We believe Magnus Carlsen knew about the Philidor position before he was born. At this rate, I think he was born with that knowledge. No, he knows endgames very well. I think he already as a very young player, he studied endgames a lot, and that's not that common for Norway, I think, as like the chess tradition. It's more common that the Russian school of chess is, they say it's based on endgames, so kids learn first endgames and then they build on that endgame knowledge. It's interesting to see that Magnus had that kind of chess education also, even if it's not the same culture.
Anna, I have a very important question. I just saw something on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
This game is officially a draw, by the way, so as we wait for the first moves of Wesley So versus Hikaru, do you sleep with your socks on?
Is this a question to me specifically, or are we gonna?
This is a question for everybody.
Discuss so very
here's
important
the tweet.
topic.
I'll tell you the tweet. The tweet says, reminder, it's from Jack Dunlop. He says, reminder, if you sleep with socks on, then you're a psychopath.
Okay. I'm gonna say in this household there are two people. One of us sleeps with socks on, the other person does not sleep with socks on. So whether it's me or whether it's Kevin, one of us is a psychopath. That's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah, see, it depends. Like, if it's the winter, you need. I hate cold feet. It's the worst. So winter.
Oh, you do sleep with socks on, Levy.
Of course in the winter. What do you? I mean, also I have people. I don't control my own heat in this apartment. My downstairs landlords control it for the whole little house building. So, yeah, it's cold. So I wear socks. But in the summer, if you wear socks, I mean, what are you, insane?
Yeah, I guess. Does it refer to colder months and such? Because yeah.
Now showering, you have to shower with socks on. I mean, that's just like obviously.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm assuming every single person showers with socks on, and this is a different pair of socks that you put on just for sleeping. It's not your shower socks. That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
82% said no. Now I'd love to see that in the winter. Flexing owning socks. All right, guys. I don't have as many as Hikaru. I mean, my man.
10 pairs. 10 pairs.
Amazing. Yeah, we have no other games. Magnus is just proving to be a magician. Just defending 2 completely lost endgames. Now he needs to defend a 3rd one. That will be maximum content. Magnus wins 1 game, saves 3 dead lost endgames, and that's it. There we go. There we go. Let me check in here.
A few minutes till the last games begin. So a reminder that Hikaru has to win. This is the final game. Doesn't matter what's the result in terms of whether we'll be a playoff or not. That's not depending on today. This is the final game for today, both for Hikaru and for Magnus. They're gonna play in both matches. There's one more rapid game, and then we're gonna call it a day because tomorrow they will be back for the second part of the match. And if that's a tie after the 2 days, that's when we have playoffs. Now, as for the situation, Hikaru is 1 point behind, and that means that there's only one result that matters. As we said, he has to win with the black pieces. He's gonna go all in. You're gonna see a really wild Hikaru trying to stir things up. Wesley will do the opposite. Wesley will go extra solid. He always is a solid positional player, but he will now do it even more. He's going to try to play with zero risk and keep everything extra damage proof.
Yes.
We shall see whether Hikaru can somehow set the board on fire, even if it's incorrect. Like, it doesn't matter if he's going to take too much risk, because a draw and a loss is the same result for Hikaru for the match.
And there it is, by the way. First move has been played. Of course, Wesley goes for d4. With d4, you can really control the game a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth. Will Hikaru go for the Dutch? Yes, I called it. I'm happy. Yes, go Hikaru. The only way to play. What will Wesley play? This is Hikaru used this opening to win the U.S. Championship 2 years ago. Let's see.
So the Dutch defense, do you want to tell the viewers why the Dutch defense is not the most common at super tournament level?
Yeah, the thing is that the mainline Dutch defense, just straight down what Wesley's probably going to play, which is bishop g2, knight f3, c4, is just considered better for white. White, it's just what it is. And the thing is, even the sidelines like the Staunton Gambit, and this line actually, this b3, bishop b2, Tufi and Keto, way too solid. Just way too solid. Black almost has no winning chances at all, but that's the beauty of the game. I mean, you play the game because, you know, if you play the Dutch, your chances of losing the game are higher than they are in a Queen's Gambit, for example.
They are. But that's why he does it. Hikaru does it because he has to win on demand, and he did the same. I'm being informed by the team that knows everything, all the facts, that he did the same in the final round of the US Chess Championship last year against Jeffrey Zhang, because he was in the same situation. He needed to win on demand, and he played the Dutch, and it worked out well. So let's hope that it's gonna bring good luck this time too against Wesley.
Yeah, that was a wild game against Jeffrey. They didn't trade pieces for like 20 moves. Now what's happening here is Hikaru's playing a quick knight e4 with e6. So normally black plays d6 and c6 and a5. Hikaru goes for knight c6, which is already not very standard. e6, f5, and puts his knight in the center like this. Then he will probably play d6 later. Maybe he'll just go d5 straight away, actually.
You think so? Let's predict.
Know.
Let's predict. Will it happen?
Anna, do you still have the database open?
I'm gonna open it again. So what's your call on this, Levy?
I think this position has almost like never happened. Unless I'm wrong.
How did you know? It's one game after e6.
Yeah. I was gonna say, well, I play the Dutch. I play the Dutch. Like for me, I played hundreds of games in the Dutch. This move order without d6, with e6 and knight c, and g5 immediately. What?
He's going all in.
Oh,
as
this
predicted, but this is super all in. This is very much all in.
Oh man, I could be wrong, but yeah, like I said, this isn't something he cooked up in the lab or anything. I mean, this is just, I gotta win. Let's make this a mess. The
evaluation bar obviously doesn't like it, but it's okay. So for this game, it doesn't matter that objectively it isn't good. Objectivity is out of the window when the situation is a draw and the loss is the same in the match. So Hikaru will once again do what he did against Maxime when he gave up 3 pawns, and obviously it wasn't good, but he had to try. He's going for it. G5. I sure hope that, as bad as it looks and as objectively not the right way to play, it will work out in this one game. It just has to be. His name is Hikaru On Demand Nakamura at this stage, or Hikaru Comeback Nakamura. We had a viewer tournament, by the way, Lavi, yesterday. The after party was on my channel. Today it's going to be on Lavi's. Unless Hikaru wants to stream, because you guys will probably say, oh, Hikaru want to stream a bit more. But I was just going to say that we had a viewer tournament yesterday as the after party on my channel in honor of Hikaru. And the two options for the name were the Comeback Tournament, the Comeback Arena, or the On Demand Arena. And the idea was to try to channel our inner Hikaru and make huge comebacks from really bad positions if you get into a lost position. Don't do it on purpose. Don't get into bad position on purpose, though.
For this one, I think if Wesley takes and then just moves his knight away, that's the perfect way. So I've had people do this to me. They'll take. Okay, so Wesley's just going forward. Yeah, this is the issue. Is that Wesley's gonna try to trade the knights. Like, Wesley just understands that. Like, G5 was maybe a little bit too much. Like, maybe you had to play D5 and B6. Actually, G5 really surprises me. Really surprises me, now that I think about it. Like, Hikaru doesn't attack until he's ready. He just doesn't attack until he's ready. I would have expected a D5 or a B6 just to set up a little bit more before creating something, but yeah, okay.
Interestingly, for the position with C4, so earlier there was like one game after E6. When C4 is pushed, we go back to a huge sum of 4 games in the database, but all those 4 games were pretty high-rated players. But G5 is a novelty out of necessity. It's a novelty out of necessity.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll ask Hikaru, but no, I mean, it's tough at any level. I mean, you gotta win. I don't think Wesley wants blood, guys. I think Wesley wants to trade the pieces. If Wesley wanted to win this game, I think he would have actually went for knight E1, because then what you do is you attack this pawn and you route the knight to E3. The way it's happening in the game, Wesley is still better positionally, but he's just trading the pieces. Very happy to trade the pieces. Very happy not to get attacked.
That's the match situation. He will not even try to win if he can go solid and simplify the position. I think his priority is to simplify, make everything super safe and solid, because he does not need to win. Hikaru is the one who is trailing 1 point behind in this match, and this is the final game of today. Not the final game of the overall match, final game of today.
This is not pleasant. Two knights being traded.
Yeah, for the scoreboard, I just wanted to add, because I think it also may be confusing for the format, that you see the score as like 1.5 points for Carlsen, 2 points for Wesley, but at the end of the day, it does not matter how many points they scored. All that matters is who won. So that's why for Hikaru, it's the exact same whether he makes a draw or loses, because Wesley will still win the match. And the points will not matter for tomorrow nor for the playoffs. It doesn't matter if you lose a match 3-1, doesn't matter if you lose 4-0. As long as you lost, it's a loss. And that's why Hikaru is going all in, because if he wins, there's a huge reward. It's gonna be a tie, and tomorrow, new game, new day with a new match.
Yeah, exactly right. So if the match ends 2-2 today, that's it. We just counts as a draw. Now, tomorrow's match cannot end in a tie. If today's match ends in a tie, tomorrow someone must win. Someone must be eliminated. So, for now, Hikaru is just playing bishop a6 here to put some pressure on c4. Do we have a start in the other game? No start yet. Nepo is down 2-1. Nepo down 2-1. So Nepo has to win with white. Whoa. Nepo has to win with white? Oh my god, this is going to be a fun game.
Yeah, I think we just still haven't updated Magnus's one, but yes, that's also 2-1 after the third game, and the same situation. Nepo is in a must-win situation. He has to win.
And Nepo has to beat Magnus to stay in it. Yeah, Nepo has blundered 2 endgames today. It's been very, very rough for him. The second one, obviously, a lot harder than the first one. Oof. Okay. G4 from Hikaru. He is stopping Wesley from playing the pawn to f3. And if Wesley plays... God, look at the structure. What a weird structure of pawns.
Yeah, it looks like it's all for the aesthetics, just to do some kind of a weird geometry there. I like it. It looks very artsy, but I don't know how successful this attack will be. It is more space for Hikaru. He is gaining space on the king side with this pawn push. Then he could place his queen on g5, bring the rook to f5, double rooks on the semi-open f file. So there's some pressure here on the king side, but it's all so solid for white. Will we have time to play queen g5, bring the rook, and double down on the h file? Could we try to play for that, or is it more about the f file? What do you think, Levy?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably the F file. If I have to say, probably the F file.
It seems more logical to just try to double rooks on the f file, but even then, so let's say we bring the queen to g5, we bring the rooks to the f file. This rook on f1 will stay there to guard the f2 pawn, and after e3, the queen too is protecting the f2 pawn. So how can we put enough pressure on f2, even if you put all your heavy pieces, the 2 rooks and the queen, on the f file as black? The pawn on f2 is still not hanging. So maybe Hikaru, yeah, he's shifting toward the second option to go to the h file. Rook from f6 to h6, I think, is what he's trying to do. And then queen g5, queen h5 with a checkmate idea on h2. Or h5, h4, that could also be.
Yeah, because let's not forget, if he actually gets the pawn to h3 and forces Wesley's bishop to go to h1...
Yeah, he goes for it. As many of you suggested in the chat. Well done. Well done. He's listening to you guys. Well, hopefully not actually listening, but he's following your idea.
And Wesley's falling into the trap. Someone said Wesley wants blood. Look, he literally wants the opposite. I mean, sometimes, like the Dutch, you have to fight fire with fire. So that's like the only way you're going to beat the Dutch is by being aggressive. And here, Wesley's not fighting fire with fire. He's not doing that. He's trying to put it out with just, one water hose, and it's not working, because now Hikaru will get to play all of the attacking ideas in the Dutch defense. Having said that, Anna, that doesn't mean that this is going to be a walk in the park for Hikaru. The bishop on a3 takes away the f8 square, so you can't put a rook there. And even though sometimes in the Dutch, from experience, you will play all the right moves, every single one, and still have nothing. It's just, you play all the right looking moves, every single one. h5, bishop h6, h4, blah, 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 blah. And then you go, well, now what? And then you sacrifice a piece and you lose. That's my experience playing this opening. So, I don't know what Hikaru's trying to do here. What is he trying to do? Bishop d7 to defend c6, maybe?
Perhaps, yeah, he could bring that bishop towards the king side to guard c6 and then maybe open up the position in the right moment. But everything is so close that I don't know how we will ever get to open up unless it's h4. I think h4 in the right moment would be great, but we need to prepare it. At the same time, the other game has started. That's also the final game in the match between Carlsen and Nepomniachtchi. I'm surprised by the opening choice of Nepomniachtchi because he's in a must-win situation. How do you win against the Berlin?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you win against the Berlin. That's very surprising, actually, that Nebo decided to play into it.
Yeah. So for those of you who wonder, if we can move the pieces back to move 3 in Magnus Carlsen's game on our small board, bishop b5, that's called the Spanish opening, and knight f6 became the main opening the main defense of Vladimir Kramnik in his World Championship match against Garry Kasparov, the match where he beat Kasparov. That was a long era of Kasparov being the strongest, the greatest chess player. And then Kramnik came, brought the Berlin defense, and managed to beat Kasparov in that match. One of the main opening choices was the Berlin. And ever since, the Berlin has become a very solid opening choice that's known for being Joyce. It's known for being very, very much in style of I'm gonna equalize and then I'm gonna hold it together. So the reason why it surprises us that Nepomniachtchi with the white pieces allows that very theoretical Berlin position is
Yeah.
that it's just not enough play in this position to even go wild. He cannot do the same as Hikaru. He cannot go all in, go crazy when everything is symmetrical. The pieces are disappearing from the board. I don't know how he wants to win this, how he wants to try.
Yeah, as far as that matchup goes, it's very strange. That one I don't understand. Now, Hikaru, like I said, Hikaru has the position every Dutch player dreams of. But look at what Wesley's doing. Wesley's playing Queen A5, preventing Hikaru from playing Queen G5, Queen H5, and checkmating him. Because the Queen has vision on C7. That's all you need in the Dutch as a Grandmaster. You need one target, and that prevents you from moving completely for the rest of the game. It's kind of a worst nightmare situation. Now Wesley's going to advance on the Queen side. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, it's... This is like Dutch is great, sub 2,500. I've never beaten a single GM in over the board chess with a Dutch, and I lost actually to some like low rated players, and I was like, okay, I can't, you know, I can't. I don't know, it's not good.
I just hope Hikaru will be the one to show that the Dutch can be used against very strong grandmasters too. But yes, not an easy task. And Wesley has been playing well today, so it was very few moments where he went wrong, but mainly moments where Wesley had the advantage and then spoiled it in the first game. In the second game, he didn't let it slip. He won the second game, and ever since, Hikaru never really had a chance to go for the full point. Every game was just pretty balanced or better for Wesley. It's a tough match that we have today.
Yeah, now b4, a4, and as usual in these kind of positions, there's a lot of King's Indians where this happens. This happens in the Dutch. You attack on the king side, but if you can't break through, then suddenly white comes roaring back on the other side of the board. We get c4, b4, a4, everything that's happening now, and I don't know what else to say. Like, there's maybe you go queen b8 and queen b6. But if you play queen b8, white goes queen c5 and queen here.
Yeah. We need to make it happen, guys. Keep up the energy, keep up the support, because this is not an easy position to somehow create attack from, to create sufficient attack from. Hikaru has gone all in. Look at the pawns in front of his king. He doesn't care that it's pushing pawns in front of the king that he has to be securing, that he has to be guarding. He doesn't care about his own king safety because he wants to win. He has to win. But Wesley is too solid. Everything is defended. We need to break through somehow. So we need the flower power. We need all your energy. We need you to help him, because this is a really tough spot to be in. Everything is looking difficult. But one thing that I like is the time management. We've got lots of time, and hopefully Wesley will start spending a bit more and maybe get into time pressure. Time pressure would surely help.
Yeah, some people were saying, what about the time situation? Well, it's actually, I mean, it's the first moment in the game that Hikaru's actually spending more than, let's say, 30, 40 seconds. I think he's just kind of realizing, like, damn. You know, literally, you just have this moment in a game that you're like, it sucks that I have to win. Like, if he didn't have to win, he would just do whatever. But, yeah, he has to play, like, a move like Rook B8, which tries to just, I don't even know, what is he trying to do after b5? Trying to, like, take once? If the c file opens, Wesley gets c7, and it's not pleasant. This is not what you want. So, having said that, Wesley doesn't have to do anything. Can't Wesley just play c5?
Yes, he could, but maybe he will not want to, because that would lock the queen in on
Yeah.
a5.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, maybe he wouldn't want to do that, because Hikaru would get... Yeah, so Wesley just plays the best move again. Like, what are you gonna do, man? I'll probably take one of the pawns will recapture. Very tough position here.
It is tough, and b5 is more logical to keep the queen active after c5. Yeah, I would have been terrified if that a5 queen gets stuck there. Terrified from Wesley's perspective. For Hikaru, yes, I wanted to see c5 instead of b5, because b5, if we trade, the more pawns are traded, the more files open up. It is white who has double rooks on the c file, so it's not really optimal for us to open up the b and c files.
Okay, and Hikaru awaits the opening of the position. He plays rook a8. I mean, I guess he can play back to b8, but then queen a5, so you can't do that. Okay, now he takes. Interesting. And what's the big idea? What is the big idea? Man, if you could teleport the light squared bishop to f3, how nice would that be? You can't, though. I'm gonna stop suggesting stuff like that.
It's such a pity we have a pawn on g4 and e4. It's like absolutely no path to f3. You would need to get rid of one of the pawns, even if it's just to give it up, like take it away from the board. You offer it to your opponent.
And now Wesley can play queen c5, queen a5, queen d2. Hikaru might repeat. I mean, I know he can. But like, okay, so probably he'll play like rook b6 or something, just to not allow. But or maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he plays another move here. Okay, bishop e8. Okay, no repetition. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want to repeat. I'm also keeping an eye on the smaller board, but it's just such a dry position. I don't think Nepomniachtchi will get a chance to even stir it up. Not not if this is the position. Everything's symmetrical. So many pieces have been traded. Magnus will make a draw easily and win today's match after having escaped from two really bad endgames.
I think what Hikaru's doing here is he's allowing Wesley to win a pawn, and he's allowing him to win that pawn because that blocks the c file. The rooks coming into the c file would have been the problem. So now he can change all of his attention to that side of the board. He can put everything on the h file, and the only way he will win this is by playing rook down to h1. He has nothing else. But Wesley can even run his king to the middle and hug his rooks.
I'm sure he will want to give that hug, yes.
Wesley plays rook c5. Okay, what's rook c5 all about? Oh, rook c5 is like some rook b5, rook b7? Oh my gosh. Gosh. Rough. Okay.
So still lots of time advantage, but the position is becoming too simple now after these pawn trades and white putting tons of pressure on the d5 pawn. It's not that it's hanging, but it also means that the bishop on f7 is glued to the defense of this pawn. What would be a way to try? Because Hikaru has to keep trying. It's, again, for the match, it's the same result whether he loses or draws. It's absolutely the same.
Just popping over to the other one, but there's just nothing in the other one. This whole thing is so strange. Why Nepo played into the Berlin, but anyway, we already talked about that. The only way here would be maybe going for f2, rook f6, somehow getting the queen over to d5. F5, rook a2. But you're just missing like an attacker. You're just missing one piece. Just missing one piece. Not easy. The worst part is, like, this is a game that's gonna take a long time. It's gonna be a lot of maneuvering. It's gonna be a lot of, like, shuffling and trying to figure something out, and it's not gonna be pleasant.
But the shuffling around and that there are still quite a few pieces on the board means that Wesley will need to spend more time too. He has to invest more time to make sure that he doesn't miss anything. So he has to keep playing accurately, and that's good because we still have twice as much time on the clock. I'm really hoping that time pressure will hit in, and that could make Wesley make mistakes too. He has been playing very well today, so it's difficult to break through a wall like the wall that Wesley has been building in his games. He's either just fine and solid and secure, or he has a better position. That there was not a single moment where he was in trouble today, and that's worrisome. That's really worrisome.
I would say that Hikaru goes back to that E4, which worked well. I guess he wanted to see what Wesley had planned in D4, and Wesley had some really strange thing, like that CD5 CD4 thing. So maybe Hikaru does a little bit of prep there. The E4 E5 game looked great. It looked wonderful, and then and then what happened. Knight H5, the untimely jump forward, and then he just it started flying backwards. So
Yeah, we'll need to ask him about that game. I hope that he'll be able to join us after this game. Whatever the result is, I sure hope that he can join us and take us through some of those critical moments, because we really thought that that was a good chance. The first game with the knight on f5, and I wonder what went wrong. I wonder what is it that he missed, the queen e3 knight g8 idea, was it?
yeah, we will ask. We will ask. Let's
I see my chat being very hyped because I think your call to action is working too well. Am I really that close to hitting 70K? Like, goodness me. Thank you guys. I don't think we've hit it
yeah.
yet, but it's way too close to what I deserve. Thank you so much.
Listen, these tournaments, they're long, right? They go for weeks. And Hikaru's channel right now has got 37,000 people watching. Which that's big boy status. We got Anna's channel at 5.5, and it's awesome. I mean, if you hit 70, that's amazing. Hikaru hit 600K on Twitch a couple days ago, or was that yesterday?
Yeah, just yesterday he was making this huge comeback. In the midst of the huge comeback, 600,000 followers. Today you said the call to action was to get my channel to 70K. I think we've just hit it. So thank you so much, everybody who decided to follow. I hope it will be worth your time. I hope that you will not regret following my channel. And I do think that Mr.
Regret?
Gotham
Oh my
Chess.
god. I mean, it's not about regret. I mean, regret, you would just unfollow at that point, right? Or do you
Well,
think
that's
people
the
follow
thing.
and regret
Imagine
it actively?
they will no, but if they want to unfollow, it's their right to unfollow. So I'm not gonna hold hostage every single 70,000 of you. I cannot do that. So if you will only stay if you like the content, and I hope I will earn it. I hope I will earn your time. But I also want to give a shout out to my co-host and producer of the show, Gotham Chess, because he deserves the support. And I heard you had a hype train on your offline channel, Levy. Is that correct?
Yeah, people turned my offline chat into a bit of a hangout. Yeah. I mean, I am encouraging actively for everybody to hang out in the two channels that we stream in. There's like, 10 or 15 people here going, us? So, yeah. It's it's good stuff, but I appreciate, when I'm streaming, the hype is good. Man, what's not good, guys? A serious note. What's not good? This position. And I think Hikaru is spending a lot of time because truly he cannot break through. Short of Wesley doing something utterly insane, Wesley is completely protected. Now, if we were playing Bug House, the type of chess where you play with a partner, and you can capture a piece, bring it to your side, and literally put it on the board. That would be nice, because we would put the knight on f3, and Wesley would lose the game, or e2 even, or d3. But you just can't do anything. You just can't do anything. Even if Hikaru's queen gets down to h2, king f1, and there's nothing. There is absolutely nothing. But Hikaru has to play moves. He has to play moves. So he plays rook a6. But he doesn't want to trade. That's the problem. If you're going to win this pawn back, then you're going to trade rooks. And we can't trade rooks, because without the rooks, Hikaru's never going to win, because Wesley's way too solid. Like, that's the craziest thing about this position, is that Hikaru and Wesley completely lock their pawns. So you will never, ever... you'll never win any of Wesley's pawns, because your bishop is not the right color. How do we do this? How do we do this? Like some queen g5, rook a8, rook h8, like boom, 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 and rook h1? I don't know.
That would
Bishop
be
e8.
ideal. Yes, some magic on the open h file. Because as you said, taking on c6 to win the pawn back, that will simplify the position. Unfortunately, it's not what we need. Rook a5, Wesley wants to trade rooks.
Yeah.
I don't think Hikaru will be interested in that trade. Maybe rook b6 or take on c6. Now that only trades one pair of rooks.
Yeah, trading one pair of rooks is at least not bad. Trust me, there are plenty of ways to lose with white. There really are. Just not when your name is Wesley So. Like, Wesley would really have to do something completely wild. Yeah. As Hikaru would say.
So this was his idea. He played rook a5, offered a c pawn, and now he comes back to c5, because if Hikaru moves away with the rook, then the c7 pawn will be really vulnerable. I still think he will move away. Rook b6 is a tempo, so maybe we could afford to play that.
Of course, rook b6, yep. Okay, now we're making progress. Actually, there is one way. If you can get a bishop to c4, like c6, bop, bop, bop. Oh, but yeah, Wesley is just... he's being annoying, because he knows that Hikaru won't want to trade the rooks.
Yeah, we are really not interested in trades, but Wesley keeps insisting. He went to a5, then c5, now back to b5. He really wants that rook trade to happen.
If Hikaru trades on b5, he then has to obviously not trade the next rook. But he's got this huge weakness on c7, the rook on c1. There's not much to be done here. Yeah, and he plays rook b6 now. Queen c5, 100%. Absolutely getting queen c5 here.
What do we do after queen c5 to keep material on the board? The very few pieces that are left.
You know what's insane? Even if Wesley sacrificed his queen... if Wesley sacrificed his queen... like, if this endgame ended up rook versus queen, and Hikaru had the queen, I'm not so sure that you can even win, because of just how fortress-like everything is, right? Like, look at Wesley's position.
That's pretty sad if that's the case, because
just...
even the mouse slip of giving up the queen, that will not be enough. Yeah. Well, it has to be a queen for a rook.
It's you know, you do your best, but the guy just plays the right way.
Super solid. And Magnus is very solid too, because he doesn't need to force anything. Although I guess at this stage, maybe he will start playing for a win, because he's got an endgame where he has a bishop versus the knight, so the bishop is more powerful. He can play this for a win. He
can. Actually, that would be really gangster by Magnus. Not even going for the draw, but just being like, look, Nepo, you played on down a piece. You did all sorts of stuff, man. And now we would have a situation where Magnus, in a must-draw, must-not-lose situation, beats Nepo anyway.
Yeah, that would be really a gangster move. I wonder if it will happen. He certainly can try, and he has more time, and just a very pleasant endgame. Worst case scenario, it's a draw, and that's for his match is the same result. Nepomniachtchi is in a must-win situation, much like Hikaru. How can Hikaru keep trying is the main question here. bishop f1 by Wesley. It's just all so glued together. The pawn structure of white is the key. The only pawn that we could attack successfully, semi-successfully, is the f2 pawn, because every other pawn is guarded by a pawn. So you cannot go and attack the d4 pawn or any other part of the pawn chain with your rook and then take it, because it's a pawn that's guarding it. So if the only vulnerable spot of the pawn chain is f2, and even in best case scenario that we go and attack it with the rook and the queen, it only takes one piece of white and the king to guard it, which means that everything is so safe, so solid, that it's gonna take a huge mistake to unfortunately give chances to Hikaru. It would take a huge mistake by Wesley. We need the mouse slip. Is there a copy pasta for mouse slip? We need a mouse slip.
Yeah,
I
there
think we
was
do.
one. There was one. There's been a lot today. It's Friday, you know. We have Thanksgiving in the we have Thanksgiving in the States, so obviously today I think today people are working, but like working, you know,
Mm-hmm.
working. And many people take the long weekend and they just turn it into 4 days. In other
Mm-hmm.
parts of the world, like it's a work week, you know. It's like you just got off work, you gotta come and relax and enjoy your chess. And this is anything but enjoyable. This position. This is really not exciting to be playing this with black here.
It's not, but Hikaru has to keep the game going. He
Yeah.
has to try, because it's literally the same. As we said, draw and loss is the
Mm-hmm.
same result for the match. So he has
Oh,
to try.
Hikaru just played bishop e6 and offered a draw.
Really?
Yeah, it's
He's
official.
tired of trying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. You play the Dutch, and yeah. So today it's not over, guys.
It's
Wesley has
not
a one
over.
nothing lead. There is one more game of the day, and that's Nepo Carlsen. This one will likely be a draw. We'll see if Hikaru wants to join. Remember that if I understand it's one thing to take part in memes. It's another thing to play chess for tens of thousands of dollars. So you go out swinging, you try your hardest. So as Anna said earlier, if there's nothing nice to say, uh, don't say anything. It's the best thing to do. We come
And the
back
match is
tomorrow.
not over. Yes, exactly. Sorry, like I was cutting you there, but I just wanted to remind everyone on that too, on the format, that the first match, today's mini match, is lost, but tomorrow there's a second one. So every match consists of two sets. The first set today has been lost by Hikaru, but he can and should make a comeback tomorrow, much like he did against Maxim Vachiagrav. So tomorrow he has a chance. He has to win on demand the match of tomorrow.
Yeah, this is well, we will see. Maybe Hikaru will I don't know if he has to talk to. I don't know if they want to interview everybody. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Oh, this game is also over.
Oh,
Wow, that was fast. Magnus played h4. If king takes, rook g2. This is the weirdest thing ever. I mean, honestly, the weirdest thing. I don't know what any of this was by Nepo.
hmm especially the opening choice when you're in a must-win situation and you enter the most theoretically drawish position, that is the Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange.
I don't
But there
understand.
will be an after party. Those of you who are asking, there will be an after party. I think we are hosting it over at Gotham Chess, unless Hikaru wants to join us and then stream. We will see what his plan is, but if not, the after party is at the Gotham Chess channel. So it's not just an offline party anymore. It's gonna be an actual party.
Yeah, offline party is the best party, but we just we'll wait and see. If he doesn't want to talk to us, I'm frankly I don't blame. I wouldn't want to talk to me. But
No
no,
one wants to talk to us.
it was a it was a crappy like last few games. Everything that went kind of like wrong in a day of chess, kind of like it felt like you have a good position in the first game.
Mhm.
Maybe you miss one move, boom, all of a sudden no attack for you, and the other guy's pushing. And then the second game, it looked like he was kind of trying to, like, figuring out how to play against the attack, and then, like, he blunders this, like, checkmate sequence. So, we will see. We will
Yeah.
see.
We hope he can join as well. Of course, it depends. They also often need to appear on the official broadcast. I think they couldn't get a hold of Hikaru yesterday, so they might try to do that today and interview him on the official broadcast. We cannot thank you guys enough for your support. Yes, today's result. Today, unfortunately, the result is not what we wanted, but the match is not over, and we need your support again tomorrow. Just like in the match against Maxim Vashagrov, it's got to be a win on demand. That's the only chance. It's a knockout system. Every match consists of 2 days. Tomorrow is the final day of the semifinals, and that's when we will know whether Hikaru can make a comeback and go to the finals, or if he does not make a comeback, that's the end of the tournament for now in the Champions Tour. But it's a 10 event tournament series, so it's only the beginning of a $1.5 million tour.
Yeah, so the way it works, my friends, is there's 10 tournaments, and there are these regular tournaments, and then there are majors. And the majors, the way the majors work is that if you win a major, you make it to the final. The ultimate final will probably have 4 people. So to make a major, you have to qualify in the top 8 of a regular. We did that. So Hikaru has qualified for the next major tournament. At the same time, you don't have to play in all the regulars. If you already make it to, like, imagine you win a regular, you make it to a major, you win the major, you've made it to the final. Technically, Anna, you could skip on the whole tour.
Yeah.
But we don't expect that to happen, not just from Hikaru, but from a lot of these guys. It's their livelihood. They don't have Twitch Prime in their life. So you can't sub to these guys. They don't stream. The only guy who really streams is Nishigiri.
Out of the field, yes. But I do see a GMHikaru in the chat. So I'm hoping that means that Hikaru will have a chance to join us. We shall see whether we will be lucky. And at the same time, once again, thanks everybody for the support. Tomorrow it will be the same time, same place. It's 9 a.m. Pacific, noon East Coast, 5 p.m. GMT, 6 p.m. Central European Time, and I don't know more time zones, but it's the same time every day here at the GMHikaru channel. Tomorrow, the second channel will be Lavi's one. Today it has been mine. Thanks so much for tuning in. On whichever platform you follow, mainly follow the GMHikaru channel because that's the main stage. And it's gonna be all or nothing. Tomorrow, it's all or nothing.
The nice thing is that they get guaranteed a second day. Hikaru said he will join. That's what he wrote.
Awesome.
He wrote, I will join, and he said plenty to talk about. So, plenty to talk about indeed. I wouldn't know because I'm not as good at chess. So, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get all of the games. If I can. Try to load them before Hikaru gets here, so... Let's see. Maybe I can download all the games of them of their match. I have to keep an eye on Zoom. Lot to keep track of here in the post game. We got no breaks. We're a no breaks kind of channel here.
You didn't even have a chance to finish your lovely dish, the dessert you had.
Dessert?
I mean, it looked like a dessert.
Those are my vegetables. You know, like acai and all this stuff. Okay, I can
Honestly,
pull. I can
it looked like a dessert.
It definitely feels like a dessert. Okay. Oh, okay. Looks like he went to the official channel first. I will, in the meantime, I can load some of his games.
Sure, we will wait patiently.
Chat's still alright? You guys good? I don't see you right now, so.
What are you planning for the after party if you are hosting the after party, Levi?
Yeah, I'll stream after. I don't know. We'll do something fun. We'll do something fun. I'll be sarcastic. I'll make people laugh. It's the usual. 90% comedy, 9% chess, and 1% whatever you want it to be. So maybe viewer tournaments are fun, but then people start doing unsavory things in the viewer tournaments. Even with no prizes, people smurf and who knows what they even do. I went back to Hikaru's chat, and the first thing that I saw was flowers, so that's good.
That's always wholesome to see. Thank you, guys.
Chat, what is your favorite flower, by the way? Hikaru said tulip. At least 15% roasting viewers. Only the ones that are, like, aggressive, you know? If you're aggressive and hostile, then sure, but,
It's a difficult question. What's your favorite flower? I don't know if I know the answer in my case. Do you
mine
have
mine are orchids. I think orchids are really nice.
Yeah, they do look very nice. I think I just like flowers in general. It's a pity that I'm kind of allergic to them.
To flowers?
Well, not flowers themselves,
pollen?
but yeah.
Yeah, that is rough. Spring must be terrible. I've been meaning to go to one of these things. You know, like the allergen panels they do to test what what allergies. I'm too scared. Like I'm too scared. I feel like I'm gonna be allergic to everything, and I'm just gonna like faint or something. Have you ever gone for one of those to see like what allergies you have, or?
Yeah, but the thing is, they are not very accurate. At least the one I've done, it was for loads of different things, and they said even after the test, they know I have allergies for something in the air, like pollen and floral stuff, or like it is related to that, but they weren't sure what exactly. So even though I've done the test, it's not defined. What is it in the air that makes me sneeze? And yesterday, during the viewer tournament, I'm so happy that it didn't happen during the broadcast, but I had like a streak of allergic reactions on stream yesterday, and I hate it because I don't want to be that streamer that like starts sneezing. I don't want people to feel bad because it looks like I'm just constantly sneezing. My nose is running. It's not a pleasant view.
Well, earlier today I couldn't stop coughing.
Oh, I also had a little bit of a cough issue at the start of the broadcast, but not too bad.
It was a lot of excitement because chat thought I was just gonna die for like 15 minutes. I mean, it was, yeah, there you go. Exactly, that's what it was. Oh, and here's Hikaru.
Let me turn off my camera in the right moment when he joins us.
Yo, what's good, you guys?
Hey.
Hello.
I have all the games. If you want to talk about the games themselves, or if you just want to.
I mean, we can talk about many things. I guess. It depends.
Yeah, so there was a lot to talk about.
Well, I mean, so like it seemed like today was a day when like everything went wrong. So first of all, like the secondary recording device behind me, when I tried to turn on and start recording before the first game, it wasn't working. So it's always this like 5-minute delay, and then they're like, okay, we'll just play the games. But I mean, that certainly started off the day poorly. And then the game itself, this first game, I think also was pretty bad. I blundered in this middle game, this knight h5 g6 move, which for some reason I didn't think was playable. And then it was, and then I think Wesley kind of misplayed it afterwards. I think he was much better at some point. So yeah, it was very strange. And then I think during one of the other games, I mean, maybe on the broadcast they weren't showing my face, but then like I also in the middle of the game I spilled my drink on the table too. Luckily it didn't go on any wires, but I spilled the drink and I realized like I can't get up and get paper towels. So like I'm trying to play the game while like I have this like mess on my desk. So that also did not help either. To put it mildly, but yeah, I mean, it was I didn't really get great positions. I felt throughout the day, but the final game was amazingly close. I think it was like one tempo, and I would have won that game actually at the end.
Can you show us how in the final?
Sure, game? Yeah, we can look at that one first. It really felt like it was. I predicted, like, first of all, when d4 happened, I was like, well, I even thought d4, I was like, okay, f5, and then it seemed like Wesley did exactly what you're supposed to do when you're playing against somebody who has to win, right? He just played very annoying.
Really? You thought that way? I thought actually the way he played was pretty terrible, because even though it works out, it's very dangerous. Like, if you miscalculate a move, you're going to just lose, because it's very close, and I have one basic attacking idea. So I actually thought the way Wesley played was not correct. I thought that he should have played e3. And just gone like knight d2 and f3 and just traded the center, get the center open, and then I don't think I even get any chances. Yeah. So I actually thought the way he played was not I mean, it works out and it's fine, but it's like the difference is one move between it being a draw and being just a forced checkmate for black.
So when you did this whole G5 thing, and he like knight e5 was surprising. I actually thought that he was going to go like what you're talking about, and then but then he went into. So you're saying that he delayed e3 and let you go g4, and that was not good.
Yeah, and I mean, I know people are saying that they disagree, but the point is not so much about the objective evaluation. It's about the fact that in the position, you don't want to give your opponent chances where if you make a mistake, you lose the game. So even if objectively white is probably better, there are serious risks because black is a straightforward plan.
Yeah, the sacrifice of the pawn, and then ultimately.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately, I think Wesley was very precise. I think rook c5 was very important here. Because the thing is, I basically the idea that I want to play is I want to go queen f6, rook h8, queen f3, and this beautiful queen sack and rook h1 checkmate. That's the dream basically.
Ah. Oh.
That's a nice one.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we've seen this coming,
yeah,
Levy. I don't think
wow.
we called this at all.
Okay, well, see, there you go. See, that's why we say, and Hikaru, anytime we're talking about the game and you're out here thinking of queen sacrifice checkmates, that's okay. Well, with that idea in there, yeah, man, you're better than chess. You're better at chess than we are. So, wow. Okay.
There's also a second idea as well, which is I can go queen h8, rook h2, sack, and then go queen h3 and rook h8. Those are the two ideas there.
See, that was what we were talking about. Queen f3 is oh wow, that's
queen f3 is beautiful.
And you're just down a tempo because he has enough pressure on every important piece, right? c7.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought rook a8 is good, and then queen b4 is I think extremely precise because I think if he goes queen b5. I think I have some trick there. If he goes queen b5, I think I have queen d6 and then rook h8, and I think I'm in time to win. But queen b4 is very important. And I think after queen b4, it holds. So I think here, I mean, maybe it's still good, but rook h8 and rook h2 is unstoppable now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So queen b4 was an excellent move by Wesley because that's sort of the point behind queen b4. If you show it on the board, yeah, I know I'm behind you guys, obviously, but
no, it's all good. Yeah, queen b4. If you go queen d6,
he goes rook b5. That's the problem, and it's not even so much that he can put the rook on b7. It's that he has this access to e7. So like if you go back instead of queen d6 and of queen h8,
yep.
If I go queen h8, rook b5, and then rook h2, there's queen e7. And that's the problem with the whole, I think.
You're right. It's the only move. It's also a winning move. It's the only move that.
Yeah, that's why the queen on b4 is so important because it can go to e7. Like if the queen's on any other square after rook h2, it's winning.
Do you think it also has to do with the fact that when the queen comes back to b4, he can it's the threat of the oh no actually no you made that point already. Like if you bring the queen to d6, rook b5 is offering the trade of queens, which you can't. If the queens are traded, you can't win. You need the queen.
Right, exactly. So like I need my rook on h8 and I need my queen going to f6. And like I mean I think actually here it's already probably completely fine for black, but it's not fine in the way where you can win the game. You can probably make a draw quite easily here, as you see the engine evaluation has gone way down. But I probably shouldn't have played rook a6. I didn't realize you could just go rook a5 and just like trade the rooks, and then there's no hope. I probably should have just gone queen f6, rook h8, and hope that he misses something. But you know, it's because it doesn't matter. The difference between a draw and a loss, it's the same result because you lose a match. So I probably shouldn't have played rook a6. I should have just gone like queen d6 and hope that he makes a blunder or even a mouse slip, I guess, theoretically.
That's so crazy. Yeah, you're right. It's one tempo, queen c7, and then if you ever go for something like queen f3,
right, he's queen e5 and queen h8. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, probably something else too, but yeah, just queen e5 and queen takes h8.
That's nuts. Wow. Yeah, we didn't see queen of. I mean that.
Yeah, we had no idea that was one tempo away from.
I'm actually
being
surprised
executed.
you guys didn't see that because I thought that was very thematic in the position.
Well, I lose my queens just not to checkmate people. I'm very happily lose
right,
my
but
queen.
I mean when you get this structure where like you're attacking down a line and there's a bishop that's fianchettoed like that, like the ideas are either you have to triple it up and checkmate, or you go for something with a queen sack and a rook h1. It seems very thematic.
Well, then, yeah, I mean, if it was a game of one tempo, obviously, Dutch is the way to go.
There was this game in Amber between Kramnik and Anand. I think it was a Catalan, but Anand was black and he got the same sort of thing. It wasn't exactly the same position, but there was a queen f6 and a queen f3 with the checkmate on each one.
We were curious in the very first game. Someone in the chat pointed out that after knight h5, g6, it looks like queen e3 is really strong, but he has knight g8, and we were wondering like if you maybe missed knight g8, but like if maybe you just like when you played knight h5, you looked at g6 and you were like it's not possible because of something else.
I just assumed it wasn't possible actually, but I mean I was already a little bit unhappy with the position the way it had gone. But yeah, I just assumed g6 wasn't playable, and then Wesley thought and played g6, and it's like, ugh, like, I mean, what am I doing suddenly? But
also
yeah.
this is like, this whole knight h4, knight f5 is awesome. There was one more kind of cool idea that obviously, like, Wesley would have, I mean, he's not going to blunder this, but when he played d5 in the first game, there's this queen d2 idea to play like
yeah,
knight g7.
I mean, okay, yeah. I think that's too much to expect. I mean,
queen d2
it's just a very strange move to play.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly what we said. Also, he just has knight e8. He's not going to blunder knight g7.
So it's not even like an actual good line. It's just a one move trick.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, it goes against the principles of everything. Like when you put the knight on f5, you always are going to go queen f3, so you can sack on g7 or h6. And secondly, you stop your bishop from moving. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think the computers think this is good for white actually, but like,
well, yeah, that was going to kind of be the question. Like, obviously, you're looking at queen e2 and queen f3. You're not looking at queen e2.
I mean, like you spend your whole life playing this game, the computer just says like, put the queen on d2, like. I'm sure even if you ask Kasparov about this, he'd be like, I mean, queen d2, like what is this nonsense? Because it's stupid. I mean, I guess the computers say it's good, but it's I mean, it's another one of these computer moves that just like it just makes me disappointed in chess. Let's put it that way.
Probably your best move after knight e8 is also to just move the queen out of the way. So
yeah, well, if I had played queen d2, I think someone should accuse me of cheating, because I don't think anyone in their right mind would ever consider playing queen d2 there. Like, you ask every person in this tournament, like all 16 players, not a single one would say like queen d2. Yeah, I want to play queen d2. Like, it's, I mean, they might consider it for a second, but then everyone would see like knight e8, and it's like, okay, so that's not right. You just go queen f3. It's thematic and so forth. Yeah, like. I'm sorry. This
I can move it off the screen. I can go.
No, it's fine. It violates everything that you learn. It violates every principle that you learn. Like, you learn that in these e4, e5 structures, you get a knight to f5. You always go queen f3. Not only that, but then you play queen e2 and you block your bishop in on c1. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's really gross. That's really, really disgusting.
Well,
so if not queen d2, Hikaru, what do you think it takes to make a comeback tomorrow? Because you did it against MVL. What is it that it will take tomorrow?
I think that I think the main thing is just to play well. And I mean, I am kind of upset. Not so much that I lost it, because I think Wesley played better, especially in that second game. But I would say that I'm pretty unhappy, because I've stuck with the line that. In the Italian that has worked so well against everybody else, and then today for some reason I decided to switch it up and change. And I mean, again, it was just if I don't switch, probably I don't lose this match. So I'm pretty upset about that. But as far as tomorrow goes, I think you play to win. You play to win both colors. Play to win every game. Plain and simple. That's that.
We hope you can do it. We sure will be here for that. Another comeback as you did against MVL. We know it's very much possible, and we will be here rooting for you. But before we let you go, or I don't know if you have plans to stream, we wanted to ask you about something that happened in the other match. I'm not sure if you are aware, but Nepomniachtchi left the board, so we were confused because we thought that bathroom breaks are not allowed. Apparently, he did ask for permission, and he was granted permission to go to the bathroom. Your thoughts on this, Hikaru?
Well, that would have helped in my second game, because I needed to use the restroom for probably the last like 5 minutes of that game. So it's good to know. I think actually, that is one thing that I think is very tricky, because I've spoken to many people I know over the years about this, and chess. a lot of people just assume, well, you're playing a game, it's all chill. I mean, what's the big deal? But it is very stressful when you play. And I know that a lot of people they actually end up going to the restroom much more when they're playing chess than they would normally. And so I think it's certainly a bit of an issue because when you're drinking liquids, you're getting nervous, like everything's building up. I think it makes it's tricky because when you say someone, can they really go to the restroom? Theoretically, someone could go, just out of the room for 30 seconds and look at a computer engine. So I think there's a fine line in terms of, whether you can or cannot. I mean, but I feel like if everybody's playing by one set of rules, then probably it should be uniform across the board. But I mean, if Nepo was able to today, then like tomorrow, if there's a moment when like we're like 5 minutes in, I really need to use the restroom, then I'll probably ask for permission because I think when I look back, there are a couple moments in games which I've lost where I had to use the restroom, and certainly it was affected. So in this event, the game against Laquang, I think I had maybe 7 minutes against his like 30 seconds or whatever it was towards the end of that game, and I really need to use the restroom badly. If I could have gone and used the restroom there, I think probably, I would say with 90% certainty, I don't blunder and lose that game. So that's one game. I had this game against Dubov in the final game of the semifinals of the Magnus Tour, the overall finals in August, where I think I needed to draw with white, but we got this complicated, messy end game, and I lost this game as well because I just started moving. And I really need to use the restroom, so it certainly does play a role. And yeah, it's what it is.
Well, we are happy to see that then you had it in the regulations that there are no bathroom breaks. We also saw the paragraph that literally says no bathroom breaks allowed. So that's why you didn't ask for it. Like, now we know they are not so strict about it, at least.
I mean, I can give you an example though. Like so as an example for the online US Championship or for the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, they originally were going to say you couldn't go to the restroom. And for that event, those events, I think it was even slower. I think it was like 20 minutes or 25 minutes. And I basically told them, like, people are going to have to use the restrooms. And so what the compromise kind of was that people could use the restroom one time during the game, but it had to be, I think, in the first 10 minutes or first 15 minutes. So I think there's room for compromise. Again, it's something that I think at this level, it's pretty clear that people aren't doing anything nefarious. Unfortunately, I think if you had, lesser players, I don't think you could have such rules, unfortunately. But I think if Nepo asked and they granted, that's fine. It would have been nice to know though that they were willing to do that, because I certainly would have asked. I think there was a game against Maxime actually as well, where I think I really need to use Russian badly. But it is what it is.
Hopefully for tomorrow, this will not be an issue anymore, and you can also take your breaks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's a new day tomorrow, and just play good chess and see what happens. I mean, if the opportunities present themselves, so be it. If they don't, they don't. But I think if I play well, I'm pretty confident that I'll have the opportunities, and I'll just need to convert on them.
Well, we will we'll stop here. We'll sign off, and